The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Well, what do you think about that, by God? Just getting started here on a Thursday broadcast of the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Hope everyone's doing well. Coming up later on around 8:20, Dr. Andrea Johnston, rock star veterinarian, will be joining the program. Prepare a question about your house pet, if and you have one, a house pet and or a question. Boy, does the text machine get cooking, Josh, when Dr. Andrea stops by our radio show.
That's for sure.
People love to talk about their dogs and cats.
It's one of those where it looks like a movie credits. They're coming up so quick on our text machine.
Yep.
Just rolling. 651-989-9393 is our little text number. Get a hold of us now if it's easiest for you. Later, we'll do our damnedest to get your question to the doctor. Smashley over here, she's an animal lover.
Very much so.
She is. I mean, we all dig our dogs and cats, but Ashley takes it to kind of a bizarre level.
Yeah, I'll admit that. It is a little weird sometimes.
I hear people going after, is the term horse girl? What is the term?
Yeah,
horse girl is what I've heard.
I was totally lost the first time I was presented with that joke. Someone said, keep an eye on that one, or be careful around that one. She's a horse girl. And I thought, what does that mean? She eats apples? That she has a long nose? What do you mean? And then the theory
she
is...
swies off herself?
Yeah, she's well hung? What does that mean? Yeah. The theory is that women who are really into horses... The theory is they're a little different. Now, I don't know that to be true. That's just the joke.
Equestrian Jesus texted in and confirmed that.
Okay.
She said, yes, that is true.
Ashley would be the dog version of that character. You'd agree with me, wouldn't you? You're a little too into your dogs.
Definitely.
I'm not to that level, but I found out it is true love between me and my dogs because one of them, he loves to hug. So when you get home... He'll jump up on you, put his arms on your shoulders, and just kiss your face like crazy. And he just loves it.
Yeah.
And then the other day he does that.
Well, you're a huggable person.
Oh, I'm not a big hugger.
No, but you are
people
huggable.
People like to hug me. That's true.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I'm getting real warm for one reason or another.
Oh, no.
And I had a Great Dane pee all over me.
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, now, was this accidental or is he marking you?
Yeah.
I think he was just excited. So, part of it is when I get home, I'm doing my best to take my wife out of the equation and make me the favorite. So when I get home, I give them those dental chews that Dr. Andrea recommended, and they love them. They go absolutely nuts for these things.
They become junkies.
Yeah, so he knows, okay, here we go. This is the guy that gives us those dental chews. And he peed all over me. And there's so much pee. It's like grown-up pee.
Oh, my God.
It's like you've been at the bar for a few hours, and you're like, all right, fine, I got to go. And he peed all over me.
You got a mop and a bucket and everything.
Anytime they go to the bathroom, it's like an adult. It's disgusting. Or some people have said...
It takes a very long time.
We have to pick up after them every day. We got 2 dogs. They, go twice a day. And people will come over... and be like, Jesus, you got a horse if there's anything left in the yard.
It's disgusting.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah, when you have a large dog, it just becomes disgusting. I'm sorry about the peeing. It probably was just excitement.
Yeah, it's the only time he's done it.
But trust me.
I got him back, just so you know.
Oh,
eye for an eye?
Yeah, exactly. Eye for an eye.
Trust me, if the dog begins to mark you, brace yourselves over there at the Cubby House, because the bloody violence is about to begin.
Well, he is the most cuddly dog I've ever met.
I think I told this story to Dr. Andrea last time she was in studio. When we were kids, we had a Springer Spaniel, and that Springer Spaniel male began to mark my mother. and then systematically planned on killing my brother and I.
That is so crazy to me.
Our last Dane, who sadly we had to put down last summer, he was like that with my wife, where he didn't like it. If my wife and I were to hug, always her choice, never mine, he would get right in between us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the jealousy.
Yeah, and if it was
my
somebody
dogs are like that, too.
They're the same. If somebody he didn't know, he would growl at him.
Yeah, this was this took off a little further than that, where this Springer would charge or rush my brother and I with teeth gritted, preparing to kill us where we stand. But we don't need to get into that.
Ninja Turtle Nutcase Jesus brings up a good point, Jesus. It's not an eye for an eye, it's a P for a P is what it is. And March Madness Jesus mentioned, at least I haven't been peed on during a session of puppy mechanic. Yeah, I like to crawl underneath them and fix anything that's wrong. Luckily, they hadn't sprung a leak in that position.
You'll end up taking one right in the mug.
Yeah, that'd be a golden shower on my face.
Oh, gross.
But, Ashley is that dog enthusiast who takes it to a little bit of a bizarre level. Many years ago, have you gained a nickname or anything because of your lust for dogs?
No,
okay.
No, I haven't.
Years and years ago, there was a gal in our friend group. I can't even remember her real name. This gal would not stop talking about her dogs. My brother, by the way, will exhaust himself talking about his dog. But anyway, this gal would not stop. If she ever was talking, she was talking about her dogs. And it drove us insane. It earned her a great nickname. At least I thought it was a great nickname. Her nickname was Dogs, Dogs, Dogs. And the fun part was, if we were talking about her, you had to say it that way. You had to say, hey, has anybody seen Dogs, Dogs, Dogs in the last week? And if you were to respond to that question, you'd have to say, oh, now that I think of it, I haven't seen Dogs, Dogs, Dogs since 2 weeks ago. She just was. They're out there.
Yeah, I've been all about my cat lately. Been posting her
just don't overdo it.
Oh, Instagram, Facebook. I'm currently in a contest. Minnow is in America's Favorite Cat competition.
Okay, so you've overdone it.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's currently second, and she is in the top 15 right now. Voting ends today.
Oh, who's the... give me all the other cats to vote for.
Can
you give me the names of all...
There's Khaled, there's...
Okay.
Yeah, Khaled.
That's a cute name. I like that.
I've never heard that.
Can you vote as many times as you want?
You can donate to vote for a bunch of votes, like 10 through 100, and then you can vote daily one time for free.
No, you're cheating. And here's the reason why.
He's cheating?
Yeah. It's not fair to everybody else. Because, for example, when you threw out the pitch, the first pitch at the Twins game, you brought like 70 family members and friends.
That was one of the most troubling things I've ever seen in my life, by the way.
When your T-shirt was sold at the state fair, you brought probably 200-300 of your family and friends. I've never met someone who has more support from their family and friends than you. Mm-hmm. So like an average person is just counting on people who view this. What's the website?
America's Favorite Pet.
Yeah, so this is cheating that he's dumping this information live on the radio.
Yeah.
You're cheating all those other poor cats and their own.
Not really.
You don't think of this as an unfair opportunity?
You have it.
No.
Okay, but maybe not cheating. You have an unfair advantage.
Unfair advantage.
I'm just helping Minnow.
It's an unfair advantage.
Well, yeah, Minnow deserves all the attention she can get, but it's an unfair advantage.
Yeah, she's going to be on the cover of Modern Cat
Here
America.
we go again.
I tried to vote a second time, and it wouldn't let me log into my Facebook, so I gave up Wobble. But I did vote once.
Yay!
I did
That's
vote
one vote.
once.
Well, she didn't say who she voted for.
Oh no! You voted for Kiki, that bitch.
I'm going to place a vote for every other cat in that friggin' lineup.
Well, keep us up to date on the drama.
I will.
And
Top,
I'll do
top
the same.
15 closes today, and then it drops down to top 10.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is.
I'm going to do the same for you guys. I'm going to keep you up to date on some drama in my life. At the orthodontist my son goes to.
Okay, what does orthodontist mean?
That like the guy or girl that'll give you braces.
Oh,
right.
Exciting.
Oh,
And so-
I hate that place.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
I think we pay too much because it's the nicest place I've ever been to in my entire life, but by far. So we go in there, and there's a kid who apparently he had a problem losing his retainer. And it was becoming such a problem, he had to write a note, which they have placed prominently in the entryway to this building, that he will not lose his retainer. So I checked in. I asked, all right, how's it going with the kid? He lost his retainer again.
No.
We're up to number 4. So he has to write another note, and they publicly shame him. I've never seen something like that before.
You know
I
what?
used to lose my retainer all the time.
Everybody did.
My mom would, we couldn't afford to keep getting replacements, so she would go to the school after they closed, and we would go through garbage bags from the lunchroom.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, she was very committed. She found it a couple times. Finally, the last time I lost it, she was like, nah, you're screwed. Your teeth are going to move. Sorry about it, buddy.
I remember in middle school seeing that, parents showing up to help their kid find their retainer.
Sucks.
I'm texting my brother right now because he was notorious for losing his retainer. And I'm finding out if he's awake. He's usually up very early. I want to find out how many times he threw a retainer into the garbage, because my memory is it was like 4 or 5 times, and my folks finally gave up on him.
Or the dogs would get to him.
Again with the dogs. See what I'm saying? Again with the dogs.
Those were always. I had a buddy. His was so disgusting. I mean, if he took it out, just set it there for lunch or whatever, the funk would fill up the whole table.
Yuck, dude.
We told him, it's like, can I just bring that home and soak it for you or something?
It was rotten. You could smell.
Oh, it just reeked. You never cleaned it.
Oh, I didn't know that part of the process when you get it. Well, obviously, look at me. I know nothing about dental work. So part of the process when you're a kid and you have a retainer is you have to clean it, or it gets full of bacteria.
Yeah, I've never had one, but friends who have said usually you soak it.
Yep.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, in the same stuff that they soak dentures in.
Yeah.
Sure.
Exactly.
That would make sense.
I remember you'd have to be careful grabbing a glass to drink at my house, because my grandma would just kind of throw them in random dentures.
Yeah.
They'd be in this cup or that cup.
Wait, so your son has braces now, Josh?
No, he's going to have to get them.
Oh, that's fun. I wonder if he'll have to get a headgear. I had a headgear.
Oh, you had a headgear? You're a headgear kid?
I only had to wear it at night, thankfully. But that was painful.
Yeah, it was. That was the worst.
They've got this new teen program. It's the same price, and you can do Invisalign. And so they give you like a few months to try it out and see how much your kid sucks at using it. So it's on him.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I remember that they had, I guess not invisible braces, but there was something that made them like less noticeable.
Yeah, they were
clear
like
ones.
white.
Yeah, but they were crazy expensive. My mom was like, no. You can pick out, you can just get whatever color you want. How about that?
But then you can also you can still see the braces with those too.
Yeah.
Or it just looks like you have a bunch of food or plaque on your teeth. It's like,
Exactly.
There's a girl here that used to have them, and you're right. Something looked different until you realize, oh, okay, those are braces. And then, her lips are sticking out further than they used to.
Now, wow, you guys are dialed into this stuff. This is really interesting. My brother texted me back, and he believes it was 3 times that he dumped his retainer. How do you say it again?
Retainer?
I think you mentioned this already, Josh. His regular gimmick was, in junior high, he'd sit down for lunch, he'd take his retainer out, he'd put it on his lunch tray, he'd wipe out the chicken nuggets or whatever we were served on that day, and then when he dumped the tray into the garbage, he would forget his retainer was on the tray. And you said that, right, Ashley?
That's the worst feeling ever. You notice about like an hour later.
You're sitting in class, you're like, oh, no.
I'm sure that's a terrible feeling.
Oh, the panic that sets in. Kids are crying in school. I remember that happening as well.
It was one of those things, though, where so many kids did it. I mean, it's not like you'd be singled out, although your parents are going to be pretty upset.
True, yeah.
So, yeah, if I remember right, my folks just, the cost was, I guess for them, too much, and they just gave up on correcting my brother's teeth. They got started with it, with the retainer, but then they just gave up, and he grew up with mangled teeth the same as I did. His maybe less noticeable, but it was the same thing with glasses. Maybe my brother's listening now. I don't know, but he's responding by text. He couldn't see dick when we were kids, so my folks got him a damn pair of glasses. I believe his kindergarten or first grade picture, he's wearing glasses.
Oh, that's
right?
adorable.
Okay.
I love little kids in glasses.
But then he loses his glasses, and his folks his folks, what am I doing over here? Our folks just said to him, well, that's the end of that. And the sumbitch still can't see.
He's failing his classes because he can't see the board.
Yeah, what kind of parents are those? Where he loses his glasses and they said, well, it sucks to be you. Now you just can't see. As opposed to getting him another pair of glasses. He's a kid. He's going to lose stuff. They just gave up on him.
I was always so stupid because I never really wanted to move to the front of the room because back in our school day, you sat like by your last name. So W was always in the back of the room. And then the teachers would write with red and green, and you can't see it. And I never wanted to move to the front because I'd be more of a dork.
Because you're sitting up front?
Yeah.
You know what? There was like a stage when I was going to elementary school, Wapple, where it was almost like cool to be the one with glasses. So I would like pretend that I couldn't see the board if I was in the back so that I could move up.
You wanted glasses?
Yeah.
There was a time at your grade school when it was hip to wear glasses, so you would pretend to need glasses.
Was this
Yeah.
Harry Potter related?
This is a dream
Maybe
that you
it
had or
was.
something. This is a dream.
But I did actually end up needing reading glasses. I probably still do because the LASIK didn't really take the way that it should have, but...
Gamer Jesus said, needed braces as a kid. Mother said they were too expensive. Now I'm 40 with one of the most yuck-mouth-looking teeth on the planet.
That sucks.
I had, when I turned 20, I mean, that's exactly when you want them, right? Instead of when
Yeah.
everybody else has them. So it was the same thing. My parents couldn't afford them, so I was 20. I got my first full-time gig, and I bought braces, and I had them for a couple of years. But when the retainer, I did a permanent one.
Oh.
Which I kind of wish I would have done the other just because, like, to floss, I mean, a couple times a year was an inconvenience, but
Yeah.
using that sucked with that permanent retainer.
Oh, I just got a text message. I think I better understand what you were saying a minute ago, Ashley. What you meant was it was cool to wear glasses, not to necessarily need glasses.
Yes.
You're talking about the empty... What do they call that?
Just the clear
Just
lens?
the frames.
Just the frames and the clear lens.
Yeah, that
Yes,
was cool.
I remember when suddenly it was cool to have glasses. Not to need them, but just to have them. So what you're saying is you wanted that look, but you didn't have a reason.
Yep.
I understand better now. Yeah, all of a sudden, I don't know, was this 10, 15 years ago, all kinds of people who didn't need glasses were wearing them.
Only poops while punched in, Jesus said he would spit his retainer out at night while he slept, and then the dog would get it.
Oh, no.
Man.
Dog would just be licking all those SpaghettiOs right out the
Gosh, they like
frames.
they like the grossest things.
Yeah, an old timer that I used to know. He didn't have one real chiclet in his yap. He's gone now, but everything he had in his yap was man-made. And watching him slide that unit into his yap, in the morning was a troubling sight.
Oh, man. Yeah, when my grandma would take hers out.
Yeah.
Or the best was when they'd just slip out in the middle of her yelling at my uncle.
Oh, yeah.
It really takes the momentum away.
The slide out.
Yeah, you lose a little pride.
It was funny, though, because the delivery would suddenly be
very
totally
lispy
altered.
and, yeah.
You son of a...
I've never seen that happen.
Watching this older guy slide the whole works into his yapper, for me, it was the sound. Do you recall the sound at all, Josh?
No, I don't.
Of a full set of dentures being slid in or out of a human's yapper?
No, I don't think there was.
There was just kind of...
Oh.
Yep.
It just would throw me every time.
Computer Repair Jesus said that he used to work at a school, and they had a big magnet with a stick to probe the garbage cans after lunch. Nothing but retainers, earbuds, and cell phones almost daily.
Dude, my mom could have really used that. The poor woman.
I didn't have those problems, Josh. I didn't need the glasses as a kid, and I mean, I needed dental work, but my folks wouldn't give it to me. I was just the kid. I had to walk around with that big tube of acne medication. I had it on me at all times.
Oh, I thought you didn't have acne.
I'm kidding around.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I lucked out in that regard, too.
Yeah, me too. Well, I thought I had it bad. And then I realized now that I'm older, like, all right, getting a couple blemishes here and there isn't a big deal. Though some people had it really bad.
Oh, dude, that same kid I was telling you about with the retainer, his whole face. I mean, and he used to go to the face scrapes and use every chemical on there. And I almost wonder if some of that stuff made it worse. But his face was always red and infected, and
it got pretty bad.
I felt so bad for him. But you know what? He didn't get any crap for it.
So dry and so itchy. Oh,
yeah. It was noticeable for sure.
That just sucks.
I hear you.
Local 34 Jesus said the nerdy glasses, they were in for a while.
Yeah.
And there were sluts, too. Oh, is that a sexual thing?
There were
people.
They were sluts?
The girls wearing those glasses, I guess.
I guess a couple now that I think about it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. They're always going to be hanging around somewhere, right? The whores?
Yeah.
Always going to be a couple.
Jiu-Jitsu Jesus said a few nights a week he teaches kids 4 to 12 jiu-jitsu. And he's noticed a lot of kids with braces that young. Yeah, usually they start later. I mean, maybe there's reasons to start sooner.
I think I was middle school. They wanted to see how my teeth were going to end up before they attacked my mouth.
Yeah, mine too. I think I got mine in middle school, and then they didn't work, so then I had surgery. That was fun.
Well, growing up, the dentist always said and told my mom, no, he does need braces. He looks great, does need braces. And then the head dentist changed at the office we went to, and I see the new dentist for the first time. He's like, good God, you go in public with those things? You need braces, son.
Did he drive a much nicer car?
Yeah. So I had to get him junior year of high school, which, it's better than, I guess, age 20 for you, Josh, but still not an ideal time. And the thing that sucked the most was when you get him tightened, they'd wrench him and it would hurt, just to eat anything. And then have to go to football practice. So you're smashing helmets with a mouth guard in with tight braces. That was so painful.
Man, I don't have any stories that begin by saying, when I was a kid, the dentist said. I don't have any of those stories. Wish I did, but I do not.
Yeah, it kind of sucked getting them at, 20 years old when you're just about to start going to the bars, but I needed them. And it was the first time, I could get them. Didn't have that opportunity. But I'll say for our kids, the reason I don't have a boat or any expensive toys are braces.
That's what my parents have always said,
kids,
too.
Man. They can't see. Their teeth are crooked. It's a scam is what it is. It's a scam. All right, before we get going again, I wanted to make a special shout-out here to somebody. I doubt he's listening, but maybe someone out there knows the guy. This is always cool to read. As the son of a truck driver here, speaking at you, the Minnesota Trucking Association named their 20 and 24 Driver of the Year. And the guy goes by the name of Roger Zima, and he's smooth out of a little town in Becker County that I'm not familiar with. Is it Ojima? O-G-E-M-A.
I wasn't sure.
I thought that never heard of it.
That looks right.
Okay, I thought there was an Ojima, kind of over by Hinckley too. I mean, not that there can't be two of them, but anyway.
Well, yeah, there's one in Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure there's an Ojima in Wisconsin.
Well, Christ, now we're up to three of them. This guy's in the Becker County version of Ojima. Roger Zima from Ojima, if we're pronouncing all that correctly. He is the Minnesota Trucking Association 20 plus 24 Driver of the Year. And we know we got a lot of drivers in our listening audience.
And some ones that have won prizes just like this, like Trucker Jesus, or Trucker, there's a name in there. I'm missing one word, but he's won a couple of these. And, he's traveled around the country and he's won some of these. So we've got some really good truckers in Minnesota.
We have award-winning drivers.
Yes, we do.
In our listening audience. It says here, Roger, over the last 40 years, he's driven 4 million miles without a single accident. Now, I got to ask Roger, or if someone knows him, ask him if he's ever heard of the Born Loser. My old man. Also went 40 years without a single accident. But Roger says here he's honored. He's overwhelmed by the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Recognition.
Recognition, thank you. He appreciates it. He calls it humbling because he humble Roger Zima. 40 years. Oh, he's got lower back problems. Oh, does he? 4 million miles.
Did you read the advice he gave? And this is great advice.
Was it beer before liquor? Never been? No, what was the advice?
No, that maintain a safe following distance. That's the secret. I've always wondered that about tailgaters, especially the ones that are angry, not just the ones not paying attention. Because usually they're tailgating the person that is the scaredest to drive, right? They're the ones going super slow, a super old lady or old guy or something like that. It's like the worst driver in the world. That's who you're going to trust. Is it going to slam on their brakes out of fear or swerve some way into someone else out of fear?
Sure. I've never understood that. To, like, get back at them, you're putting yourself in danger? What? How does that
That'll
make
show
sense?
them.
And nobody's going to feel bad for you.
No.
Roger works for Foltz Trucking up there, Detroit Lakes. Again, if anyone knows Roger, does he have a handle? You know, I just dumped my old man's handle on you, the born loser, which I thought was a great handle. Hey, loser. I don't know how many times when I was a kid, I walked into a bar with my dad and all these gravelly old bastards would say, loser.
That's pretty cool.
Let me buy you one. Do you have a handle, Roger? You got a kind of a notoriously wimpy alcoholic drink for a last name. Do they ride you for that? Zima, do they ride you for that? 4 million miles. Roll on, family. Roll on, crew. I got a soft spot for truckers. You know that.
Oh, I think everyone does.
Cubby.
The kings of the road.
Cubby, that would be, of course, your handle.
Can you see? You can see that on the side of a cab somewhere, like in some cursive writing.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That would look cool.
Amish Hammer Jesus said he got braces when he was 37, had them for 3, quote, freaking years. I got so much ass, he said.
You lucky bastards that had parents who would care for your appearance.
And then he texted back 1 minute later, said, not really, I never got any ass.
Oh.
My mom always said, Nick, the reason that she wanted me and my brother to have them is because a smile is the first thing people notice about you. So she was like, I want to set you guys up for that.
What, are you trying to make me cry over here? I mean,
is that true?
My folks wouldn't.
I think so.
They never cared. They just never cared.
I guess you got to have the money to be able to care, too, though.
Well, they also were short on that as well. They were short on money and love.
Oh, no.
How about when someone doesn't know how to smile? Is that also very noticeable?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Because I fall in that category.
No, you're not as bad as this girl I knew growing up. Like, whenever anybody talks about having a bad smile, I still think of that. I feel bad that I think of her. But it was awful.
Josh,
wait a minute. You're saying she had a terrible smile?
Terrible. She would do like one of those where you expose your bottom teeth too. Like you almost look like you're in pain.
Like a horse.
I can't even imitate that. Exposing her bottom teeth.
It was so bad, and it was even worse because she got braces.
That's like a horror movie smile almost. That's creepy.
I wonder how she's doing. She
grow
was a
up
narc,
with a bit in her mouth or something? I don't.
Dude.
Yeah, I know a couple people, but I don't feel, because I don't know how to smile, I can't really call them out.
Give us a big smile, Cubby. Go ahead. That's terrible.
I know, I don't know how.
Your mother always said, Ashley, a smile is the first thing someone notices.
Yep.
You know what my mother always said? She said, if you don't have something nice to say about someone, make sure they're out of the damn room. That was one of her favorite things. All right, we got to get going again. Like I said, Dr. Andrea Johnston from German Animal Hospital will be joining us around 8:20. So if you have a question about your pet, feel free to text it in to us. Other than that, just a regular nonsense, right, Josh?
So far, so good.
You don't have anything special planned? Any surprises?
Well, I can't tell you. If I did, that'd be silly.
That is true.
I'm just glad we don't have the tech issues we had yesterday.
No kidding.
That was a bit stressful, wouldn't you say?
I got to be honest with you. I couldn't have possibly cared less what was going on here. Doesn't bother me at all.
It's like the board fire all over again.
If we go on the air, great. If we don't, no skin off my ass also.
You're not too worried about it?
Not at all. Not at all.
Sailing so far. Yeah, no tech issues today. Feeling pretty good.
Well, who is this talking to us?
This is Josh.
Josh.
Yeah.
You sound so little and young and from a Judy Garland movie suddenly.
Are we having tech issues again?
Well, this isn't a tech issue. This is wonderful.
I love this.
Baby Josh.
Is this any better?
Fully grown Josh is here now. Adult Josh.
Got a semi.
I got to be honest, I don't hear a difference.
God damn.
No tech issues today is what I was trying to say.
Same sexy Josh voice.
You sound like you're a whistleblower for some company.
Yeah, tell us about something you witnessed, a crime that you witnessed.
Long-time listener, first-time caller here. Glad to have you guys aboard. Something I've witnessed, 2 men masturbating in this building. 2 men. 2 different guys masturbating in this building.
Josh has a new sound effects machine over there, obviously, and he's having fun with the microphone. That's good times right there.
Good times. Right there.
With that, we'll take a little break ski and be back in a few minutes on the program.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast.
You're also saying the record's going to go down.
I'm saying the record's going down anyway. The guy.
I don't think you're off on this at all. Like, you're spot on here. I don't think this is an overreaction because we have no idea what we're reacting to.
Come react or overreact with us.
Overreaction Monday. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
It's game over. Over, man.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
We're going to set things off this morning with a hell of a dramatic story out of England. I'll tell you right now, Josh, as your best friend, as your partner in what has become the greatest comedy duo in Twin Cities radio history.
Oh, my gosh.
I hope you're never wrongly accused of being the town bus masturbator.
You know, me too. I've witnessed somebody who was accused of being a bus masturbator. I've seen it. I never believed it. Those of us who are reasonable didn't believe it. I've told you before, and maybe this is something that happened every school, just like the hot dog girl. He supposedly was at our freshman year, on his way back from a football game, on the team bus, in the back, in front of all of his teammates, masturbating.
On the football bus.
I'm not buying it.
That was the story that was going around your high school.
Yeah, and this was our freshman year, so he had to live with that for 4 years.
He was wrongfully accused.
5 years in the case of my friend Mike, but 4 years for him particularly, yeah.
He was wrongfully, is that how you say it, wrongfully?
Yeah, wrongfully.
Yes.
I believe wrongfully accused. So I wasn't there, but I don't believe that ever happened. Knowing the guy and just knowing anybody, come on.
He took grief. They gave him a nickname, I'm sure. He had to live with that for 4 or 5 years, and he never touched himself on the bus.
I don't think so.
Okay.
What a good guy Josh is to defend the bus masturbator way back in the day.
Well, they were friends.
No, I wasn't really friends with this guy.
You weren't friends.
No, I mean a friendly, but no, he wasn't a friend of mine. I feel like I knew him well enough or knew human beings well enough at that time. I know today's a different day and age, but at that time that didn't happen. I did blame you, Dana.
You did, yeah.
Which is weird because it's years before I knew you and you were probably 5 or 6 years old.
That's correct.
So you would stand up for this fella and say, look, I know this effing guy didn't whack it on the bus.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
Somebody would say, they'd say it like, that never happened. It didn't happen. There's no way.
I hope you're never wrongfully accused of being the town bus masturbator. Now, if you're ever rightfully accused of being the town bus masturbator, you're kind of on your own. You know I'll do everything I can to put a spin on the story. But if you were really jagging it on the city bus, there probably isn't much I can do to help save your reputation.
Nick, you'd be sitting there like, well, maybe he was going through something. There had to be perfect
nerves.
circumstances.
I'll do what I can, but it's a long shot. But
I forget this every time. Was it Sons of Anarchy where there was the nervous masturbator?
Yes.
Never saw it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and then they had to tape his hands or whatever so he couldn't get after himself.
Now I do.
For those who've never saw the show, can somebody explain what a nervous masturbator means?
Well, it's just what it sounds like. This guy would get nervous, and they're interrogating. I forget. It was so long ago, and I only watched a few episodes of season 1. But yeah, there was a guy that when he got nervous, he started masturbating.
I love how we found it out too, because what was it? Katie Seagal was in it, and then she came up to him, and then he got nervous because he had to talk to her, and then he started masturbating.
It reminds
She's
me.
like, "What are you doing?"
Coaching in Omaha in 1948, and Eddie Shore sends me a guy. I just did that bit 2 days ago. To be wrongfully accused of such a thing. What a nightmare.
We've mentioned this before. Both you and I agree. At this age, I wouldn't care as much. But if you're a younger guy, it would be devastating. I only got 10, 15 years left. Whatever. If you're going to say something like that, that's fine. I'll be the bus masturbator. Rather not have it happen, but at this time of my life, I'm more okay with it than I ever would have been before.
But you'd likely lose your job.
Probably.
You'd lose your job.
But you know what? Free pass to masturbate on the bus. You're already the guy.
Right.
Very true.
People are so quick to judge and condemn immediately these days before they know all the facts. The social media dorks will eat you alive. That's where we're going with our first story here in today's Stupid News Report. A dude out there in England was falsely accused by the local cops of being the town bus masturbator, and his life is currently an absolute living hell. Now, he goes by the name of Brent Naylor, 56-year-old feller. Brent says the police's incompetence in arresting him for an indecent exposure he did not commit has made him just a punching bag in his hometown. He's been the subject of verbal and physical attacks ever since. He's been assaulted. He's been evicted from his home. He's even been banned from his favorite neighborhood bar. He can't even go in and have a cold one without somebody popping off.
There's that bus masturbator. Get him.
I don't know if I'd mess with bus masturbator, because if he actually did, if he did actually masturbate in the bus, I don't know, he might do some weird things.
Yeah, that would definitely qualify as a weird thing.
Yeah, but if you try to fight him, I don't know.
They're not that tough. Ever since this...
They're good with their hands.
Ever since this nightmare happened a handful of months ago, I should say, he even was handcuffed by 6 cops right there at his front door so all the neighbors could see. Now, here's what Brent says. He said they pinned it all on me without investigating at all. It was disgusting. The description of the bad guy, the actual bus masturbator, was that he's a 6-foot man. Brent says, I'm 5'8". The description of the bus masturbator was that he was quite fat. Brent says, I'm the slimmest guy in town.
Oh, he's extra skinny.
He says, now I don't trust the police. They've put my life in danger. They're horrible people. He's pissed. I mean, he's awful pissed.
Well, and he should be. Like you said, he got attacked, and the scar he has on his head, I mean, that must have really done some damage.
It was pretty simple how this nightmare started. The cops asked folks in town to come forward or give them a telephone call if they knew who was jacking off on the city bus. And one citizen called the cops and said it was Brent, despite looking nothing like the dude in the security video.
So messed up.
So the cops show up. Like I said, they're all pumped. They cuff him. After sitting for a few hours in the pen, a senior officer at the police station realized they had the wrong dude. And like I said, they were way off. Way off. But the worst part, even after being cleared of any wrongdoing, he's still routinely heckled and threatened in the street. Here's what Josh was referring to. The lick the guy took to the head. This past Christmas, Brent ended up in the hospital because some angry moron rang him over the noggin with a beer bottle. Because they all think he's the bus masturbator. His landlord throws him out. He goes to his neighborhood bar to have a quick six, and a gang of men, quote, frog marched him out of his favorite bar. I don't know what it means to be frog marched, but it sounds terrible. Then that's all because the bar staff still believes he's guilty.
They take that pretty seriously over there. I mean,
I guess so.
I think here you'd probably just get looked, unless it's like he's doing it on a school bus or something. Like, you might just be looked at as like, that's that goofball that masturbated on the bus.
I don't know. I'm guessing maybe this is a very small town. I don't know. He says, I've been stalked. People follow me home.
Dude.
He doesn't bother calling the cops about any of the harassment that he's been taking because he doesn't trust them anymore. He doesn't have any faith in them. Now, he took legal action against the cops, and he won.
Good.
He won. But it was only a few bucks. It was nothing life-changing, so don't get all excited. The real town bus masturbator is still running wild on the street, rod in hand, all because the cops effed the dog so badly by going after Brent. This...
Pretty awful.
This is the ultimate nightmare. And I call it the ultimate nightmare because it will never end.
Oh, you'll always be looked at different.
Yep. Until the day he dies.
Yeah.
And that is a friggin' shame.
And some people don't care to find out.
Nope.
They're never going to follow up.
Nope.
He's going to be the guy. They're not going to look it up.
Exactly, Josh. You've seen it before. Again, thanks to social media. Thanks, social media. You've been such a wonderful addition to our world. Once the general public has their minds set on what's right and wrong, who's guilty and who's innocent, it's very, very hard to change their minds. And like Josh was saying, even if the general public is proven wrong, are they held accountable for the damage they've done to people? Usually not. They just move on. They don't care to learn the truth. No apologies, no nothing. This is a friggin' shame.
Calibration Jesus was someone who was wrongfully accused of masturbating, and his last name is Tisdale, so they dubbed him Jizdell after that.
Oh,
that's tough.
Subaru Parts Jesus says to me, didn't you see something like that on the 93X bus with one of your old coworkers? No, that was different. They were being helped out. They were being helped in their masturbation. Someone else was doing that for them.
This sucks. It's really frightening how quickly, especially on social media, just turn on a dime. You go from just your average citizen 1 minute, and next thing you know, you are public enemy effing number one. Right or wrong?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like people love to cheer for the underdog, and they also love it when people fail once they're somewhere. So, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's one of those things where somebody's going to see the headline, and that's it for them. That's all they're going to believe.
I mean, I experienced a small dose of this. Nothing like what this Brent guy is going through. But Josh remembers this from many years ago. I was accused of some wrongdoing, and I need to be clear about this.
It's not nothing nefarious.
This was nothing nefarious. This was nothing to do with the law. I wasn't accused of any crime. Bottom line is, to try to make a short story long, a long story short, there was a website out there somewhere.
A Facebook group. Who thought that I had wronged them
in one way or another. I was completely innocent. It was a common everyday misunderstanding.
Well, you've been very clear since day one. You don't really understand how social media works, or these types of things.
And that's kind of what it was. It was a social media etiquette mistake, at least according to these people.
Yeah,
right?
That's all. And
so
mean, I'm not really into social media either, but I never would have guessed that would have said anybody.
No, I was accused of a wrongdoing by a social media group. That's basically the setup.
And you were actually trying to compliment them.
Yes. I was trying to compliment
their content.
This group turned on me. Because I went to the website to see what was happening. Someone alerted me to the fact that, hey, dude, what did you do? This website is after you. I clicked on it, and it very quickly went to F that guy to what's his address? We're going to kill him. I mean, this was not laughable at all. Let's get him. Let's kill him. I'm reading this about myself over a complete mistake, an innocent mistake. That's
insane.
What it took was the godfather of this website, who I guess was very well known by the website's followers, who I had met a time or two, who I was friendly with, had to step in and say, hey, hang on, everybody. This guy is a good guy. I've met him once or twice. He was trying to compliment us. Settle down, everybody. I mean, it was effing frightening how quickly I was a target. And this is minor. I mean, sure, there were messages about killing me, but minor compared to what some people deal with. I hate to just sit here and go on a tangent about social media, but I mean, you guys all know it can be some dangerous effing stuff.
Well, a lot of something out of nothing, too. And it's also, the game of telephone, right? It's the same type of thing. One person heard something. We've been not busted, but this type of thing has happened before. I mean, we talk a lot about a particular athlete that wanted to kill us, showed up at the got off the team plane, drove straight here and wanted to fight us, and our very tough front desk lady says, I'm sorry, you don't have an appointment, right? And it was a game of telephone. It was also complimenting someone, like a third, fourth cousin of an acquaintance of theirs, misunderstood.
The story got told 7 times in 7 different ways before it even got to the athlete.
Yeah, nobody fact-checked.
Right.
Nobody whatsoever listened, I'm trying. It was a long time ago, so maybe there wasn't a podcast. Maybe they couldn't. But they heard it from somebody, and it was totally wrong. Mm-hmm. Completely. Even the organization, one of the people that works there heard it and said, no, that's not what was said. But that was a big deal for a little while.
Yeah, I hate that stuff.
I'm surprised they were even allowed to say that kind of stuff. You get, banned if you mention, threats towards people now.
Well, this was early days.
Oh, the old Wild Wild West days.
Yeah,
and I don't know how good they were back then. I mean, not good enough because that was quite the thread on Nick. But it was complete misunderstanding. And
thankfully, that dude finally stood up and said something.
Yeah.
Because
that was kind of scary.
That afternoon when I got home, I was peeking out the window, waiting for some derelicts to roll up on me over an absolute innocent misunderstanding. Guy, I really hate social media. One of my best buddies, here's another layer of this nightmare. One of my best buddies, 14-year-old daughter. Now because young kids, of course, are all over social media. It's their existence. You've heard this type of story before, too. One of my best buddy's daughters has some dispute with a fellow student, and the whole school turns on her on social media. Now she's a slut. She's a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Kick her in the ass. Let's make her, let's do this to her. Let's do that to her. Completely, the kid was terrified to go to school because of the snap rush to judgment. It's just disgusting.
I can't believe we forgot about this. Thank you, brother and sisterhood. A lot of people have texted in reminding us when you did that same thing, Wapple. Remember, you were camping at some concert, and you thought we were ripping on your girlfriend? Remember, a friend of yours misunderstood the conversation.
Yep.
You were furious, F-bombing, coming after us. So mad. I've never seen you that mad. And I've seen you mad many times. Never seen you that mad, and then you listened to it and went, uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that...
yeah, you made an ass out of yourself.
I was told it was a lot different than that.
Made a jackass out of yourself. Okay, this here next story, well, it had great potential, but it couldn't provide the payoff that I was looking for. In the damned Philippines, 2 coffins fell off. 2 coffins fell off the top of a van while it was whipping down the highway.
Not the old coffin flop.
Yeah, coffin flop. That first time I saw that bit, I was laughing my ass off. I rewatched it recently and thought, why did I think it was so funny the first time?
What is a coffin flop?
It was a sketch on this show, a comedy show, and this guy was advertising his show, and he was mad that it was getting banned on TV. And it was a show called Coffin Flop, where he would go around and record funerals in hopes of that the body would fall out of the coffin.
Jeez.
And they always did, and they were always naked.
And they always fall in very dramatic ways, too. And, old women are passing out of the shock and horror of it all.
That was pretty good. I think the photos from the story are pretty funny, though.
Okay. In the Philippines, 2 coffins fell off the top of a van that was rolling down the highway. The coffins, of course, came crashing down onto the road. I was picturing, Josh, the coffins were sliding down the highway at a pretty good clip for at least a little while, which is fun.
These photos are up on 93x.com, and I just can't help but think that these are the most photoshopped photos I've ever seen in my life. Am I losing my mind?
Oh.
I haven't looked at the pictures.
I can't get over it.
Okay, now that you say it, like I'm looking at where the coffin meets the road there, and it does seem like it's floating.
Unless if they got the photo of it when it was falling off.
Oh, good call.
See, that's what I was wondering, Wapple.
Yeah,
I bet it has to be that. But then how did they know that it... I guess I could see the straps coming on.
I'd need to see the pictures, I guess, to understand. Where the story falls short for me is when I found out the coffins were empty. That sucks. That's a letdown.
That's not going to make it to coffin flop.
No, you got to have a big old naked body rolling down a hill.
It's one of the fanciest coffins I've ever seen, too, by the way.
If coffins are falling from the sky and then sliding down the highway, I want a fresh carcass in there, but you can't win them all. So the coffins came to a stop after a while. One of them bumped into a car or two. Traffic came to a halt. The driver, who lost the handle on them in the first place, eventually circled back to haul them away. Coffins on the highway.
Can you imagine making that call to your insurance agent?
You'll never get this.
Yeah, explain this again. You hit a coffin? Those things aren't cheap.
Oh, no.
Look out for the effing wall. That's the punchline to my favorite funeral joke. Old couple, older than the hills. Been together forever. Wife dies. At her funeral, they're carrying the coffin out, and the pallbearers lose their balance, and they slam the coffin into a wall, and the old lady's carcass rolls out of the coffin and out onto the floor, and she wakes up. She's alive. 5 years later, she dies again. Same scene. The pallbearers are carrying the coffin out of the church, and her husband screams, "Look out for the effing wall!"
Wow, you weren't kidding. I knew caskets were expensive, but it's even like $1,000 for just a pine box.
Yep.
I know nothing about
Gosh, just throw me in the hole.
things.
Whatever.
I mean, I've heard coffins are expensive, but $1,000, that's a lot.
Seems like it. I mean, you're just going to throw it away, right?
Yeah, it looks like the average is about $2,000, $3,000, somewhere around there.
I'd like a Viking funeral.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
somebody
sweet.
Doesn't mind making me a large boat, and if somebody's pretty good with archery.
We keep missing. You go through like 100 arrows. Yeah. Oh, my arms are exhausted.
Or the flame goes out each time, and I'm just covered in arrows.
Everyone's just standing there. Okay, dude.
Now, the Viking funeral is we put you on a raft, we kick you out into the middle of the lake, and then we fire flaming arrows at you, and then you're set on fire.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a bad show.
Sounds kind of fun.
Speaking of driving again now, I'm a very well-behaved driver. I'm never in a hurry to go anywhere, ever. So I don't follow these types of things. Do we have what they call here in our next story, do we have speed cameras on our beautiful Minnesota roads?
Well, in certain places they had them, right? And then I think they were outlawed.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, I don't know, it kind of goes back and forth, where it seems like sometimes it comes back where maybe it's okay, maybe it's not okay.
Yeah.
You're not 100% sure if they're out there or not.
Well, I know they had been at one point.
According to this here story, drivers in New York City, specifically in a neighborhood called Staten Island, they do not like the speed cameras that are hanging in their town. So what they're doing is this. They tie bunches of fake flowers, maybe I should say bouquets of fake flowers, over the cameras so the cameras can't see dick. And if the cameras can't see dick, I guess they can't record anyone speeding. And then pass a speeding ticket onto that person. I mean, what are they doing? Are they climbing up light poles and whatnot?
Yeah, some of them are pretty high up.
Jesus criminy. They're blocking the cameras with flowers so whoever's on the other end back at the cop shop can't record anything. The Department of Transportation in that neighborhood has to keep pulling flowers out the way of the speed cameras, and they're tired of the gimmick, and they've asked the cops to find and beat the folks involved. A DOT, Department of Transportation representative in that neighborhood said, "Speed kills," which is true, although I'm more favorable to the slogan, "Love kills." 1988, Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Wonderful song.
Their second album, All Systems Go. Speed kills, says the guy from the DOT. Tampering with speed cameras is unacceptable, puts lives at risk. We are actively working with the New York Police Department, and the perpetrators will be held accountable for jeopardizing public safety.
South African Jesus said reading reviews of coffins and urns on Costco and Amazon doesn't disappoint. We should check that out.
Reading what now?
Reviews.
On
coffins and urns. Some funny stuff. It's like those sugar-free gummy bears everyone talks about on Amazon.
Okay.
People just revere those reviews because supposedly they're pretty hilarious.
I guess I got to get a look at this. So the speed cameras in Staten Island, New York, pissing everybody off in town. So much so they're intentionally blocking the cameras with flowers, of all things, so the cops can't see what the hell's going on. A lot of the locals are fully backing this cute flower power anti-speed camera movement. One dude said, "It's a way of keeping money in our pockets. We have a hard enough time already," he says. "It's better than vandalizing or destroying the cameras." Well, okay, if that's the way you want to go with it.
I always like that.
Yeah.
When people throw something that's obviously way worse.
Yeah. As some kind of a defense or justification. "Hey, you molested me." "Well, I didn't kill you." "Well, I guess that is technically...
All right, I can't argue
right,
with that.
Yes, you did not kill me, but you still molested me. That doesn't leave you... You're not off the hook now because you didn't...
Charges dropped.
It's a money grab, they're saying. Another dude said they should get rid of all speed cameras. Now, this is interesting when you read, I guess, the speed limit all over town there in Staten Island is 25 miles per hour.
Wow. That's what it is in Minneapolis.
Oh.
Right? On the side streets and whatnot.
Okay, I guess I didn't consider. That just sounded so slow to me, but maybe we deal with that here in the city.
Yep.
We don't need it over here, they say. So the locals are pissed. They said, "This ain't Queens Boulevard." The reason I wanted to bring that up, not that Queens Boulevard means anything to anyone around here, but Queens Boulevard in Queens, New York, has the nickname, Josh, the Boulevard of Death.
Oh, no.
That's great.
That's how dangerous, I guess, it is to drive down Queens Boulevard there.
I know there's a couple... Oh, shoot. There's a couple of roads here that kind of get a nickname like that. I think Highway 3 in the South Metro kind of has a similar nickname. There's another one in the North Metro. North Metro people, can you help me? Ashley. Wapple.
I don't follow these things.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure.
There are a lot of roads that scare the hell out of me.
There was a road in St. Paul. It's where Maplewood and St. Paul meet. I can't exactly remember what it's called, but...
Never been there.
My mom always told me to never, ever go past that road, because that's when stuff gets bad. And what's funny is that one of my weed dealers lived like 2 streets past that road that she told me to never go past. And I was like, you know what? You're onto something, Mom. You're onto something.
So there was more about the shady neighborhood than it was the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sewer repair, Jesus said Highway 65 in the North Metro. Other people are saying Highway 7. Yeah, a lot of 65s. Okay, that must be the one.
All right, I go down 7 quite often in the summer. I do, and I've never had any problems. But, we all go like hell.
65 is such a long stretch, too.
You can take it all the way to the Antarctic, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It stretches up to Tuktoyaktuk, Canada, is where 65 ends.
Someone here says certain places in Minneapolis, it's 20 miles an hour. You feel like you're going backwards almost at 20 miles an hour.
I should pay a little closer attention to the speed limit.
There's old people with walkers passing at 20 miles an hour.
The speed cameras in Staten Island, New York are active 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There are a lot of violations, and it makes the town a lot of money. And I don't know exactly where all this money goes. I don't have the first idea where this money goes, but it is kind of interesting to read the numbers.
Christmas parties. In
Staten Island, last year they had 312,000 some speeding violations, and that amounted to over $15 million in fines. In Queens, where they have, what did I call it, the Boulevard of Death, they had over 1 million violations that totaled $86 million in fines. Where the hell does that money go? Does anyone have any idea where that money goes?
Back to the roads?
Road improvement.
Drivers
hopefully, I mean, you never know, right? I mean, it could be going to something completely stupid, but you'd think,
it usually is,
infrastructure and
get us a starting quarterback or something. Drivers caught speeding by a camera are fined $50. Now that doesn't sound so bad, does it, Josh?
No, $50.
But
it's more here, right? Your first, not the camera thing, but your first speeding. Didn't our trooper, didn't Shank say it was like 165 or something like that?
I don't remember. From what I understand from this story, okay, you get caught, it's $50, but a second offense, third offense, fourth offense, it goes way off the rails at that point. You're spending a lot of money. They're calling it a money grab.
A couple people have texted in, and they said that they've heard the people who hate those speed cameras the most are speeders. Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
They want their revenge.
Yeah.
They're the ones that really hate those speed cameras.
Just go the speed limit.
Someone else texted and said, speeding, it's not speed that kills, it's the crashing.
Yeah, the rapid deceleration, sure.
When you come to we got to take a break. I didn't notice what time it was. Why didn't you tell me something, John?
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Irving put that on a platter for Grimes. His first game back, coming back from back spasms. McDaniels catching the lob from Edwards.
Little alley-oop there. Timberwolves squeezed by. They just eked by the mostly junior varsity version of the Dallas Mavericks last night. They won by a point, 115-114. Shady had a great game there, Jaden McDaniels. You like that nickname, Cubby? Shady?
Shady. Why does he get that nickname? Do you know?
I think I know. He's skinny as a rail, Jaden McDaniels. You know what he looks like, right? He looks like, I'll tell you who he looks like in the face, exactly like friggin' Wang. Like my bro, Wang.
Wang? Do I know Wang?
I don't think you've ever met Wang. It's an odd tradition the Wolves have. They sign guys or they draft guys who look exactly like friends of mine. Terrell Brandon, Curtis. Michael Olowokandi, Dane. Jaden McDaniels, Wang. So anyway, I think that it was the nickname Shady's kind of an evolution. Because he's so slim, I believe they started calling him Slim, which then went to Slim Shady, and now it's been abbreviated down to Shady.
Got it. Okay.
I think that's how it works.
I like the evolution of nicknames.
Yeah, that's fun.
So do I.
I mean, sometimes when you hear a nickname and you're like, how do you get that? And then you hear where it started.
Right.
It's hilarious.
I'm a fan as well. A lot of credit to Jaden McDaniels last night, Shady, and Minnesota Mike Conley Jr. What else is happening? The Pigs and the Hockey Club start up at 7 tonight over there in St. Paul. If you're not going down to the rink, it says here the game will be shown on something called ESPN Plus. I don't know if that's a real thing. And before we go, Randy Shaver will be joining us at 7:30. What day is it? Thursday? So it'll just be Randy Shaver at 7:30. And we'll go more bananas on all this jock sniffing. Before we go, we were talking in the stupid news about speed cameras. Someone said, speed kills. And then someone else texted in and said, well, it's not the speeding that kills, it's the crashing. Along the way, we played an old song by Vinnie Vincent Invasion, a song called Love Kills. Terrific song. A listener texted in to say, actually, love doesn't kill. Husbands who come home early do.
I've seen that Dateline.
No longer Florida man Jesus who checked in with that joke. Josh's News is next.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Hey, my name is Mandy Woodruff Santos, career expert and host of the podcast Brown Ambition. Brown Ambition is conversations about wealth building. Being rich really helps. You should be rich. Entrepreneurship, women of color are the fastest growing entrepreneur in the country. Whatever, it's fine. And being surrounded by sister friends.
Mandy, mention your name on the podcast. You have made it. I was like, oh my God, I have made it.
Brown Ambition. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-assed Morning Show. 93X.
It's a dangerous weapon in the state of Minnesota. They can't have it, especially on school property. So we want that off of that person. They cannot have that.
In late November, Golden Valley Police responded to a fight. 2 students in a school bathroom. One had brass knuckles. The discovery sparked an investigation which quickly shifted its focus to a school administrator.
A school administrator?
Yes. The police chief underscored the gravity of the incident, pointing out that possessing brass knuckles on school property is a felony in Minnesota. We let them know that was a felony, he said. The investigation took an unexpected turn when officers learned the administrator had failed to inform them about those brass knuckles. Days later, during a search of the school, they found the weapon in the administrator's desk drawer. When we searched the desk, the administrator opened a drawer, pulled out the brass knuckles, and casually said, yeah, by the way, these were in my desk. The weapon was reportedly wrapped in a paper towel. Police requested the city consider filing a misdemeanor obstruction charge against that administrator, though no charges have been filed at this time.
It's serious that you have a school official who does not take it upon himself to report to law enforcement that he has in his possession brass knuckles that were a part of an assault.
As for the student who used those brass knuckles, police recommended felony assault charges to the county attorney. The altercation left the victim with a concussion and requiring stitches.
So the student stole these brass knucks out the teacher's desk?
No, the student used them. The administrator had them and didn't say anything about it. So the police are upset that, hey, were you trying to cover this up? Why didn't you mention the brass knuckles? A 52-year-old former British principal with a sharp tongue and a penchant for insults has dodged a teaching ban despite her shocking behavior. Nicola Brogan, who served as head of Woodland Community Primary School in Haywood, Great Manchester for 8 years, left a trail of hurt feelings and biting remarks in her wake. Among her greatest hits, she reportedly called one child a fat slug and effing ugly.
Oh my gosh, you don't say that to a child.
Well, yeah, I might have had it coming.
They also labeled another one a wimp with no personality.
No personality, that hurts even worse.
Look at your small arms. What are you, like 6 years old?
She referred to another kid as a fat F and suggested another wouldn't need their inhaler if they lost some weight, fat ass.
Oh, dang.
The school district condemned her comments as abusive and inappropriate, calling them very serious. But a disciplinary panel decided to keep the door open for her return to teaching, stating she might still have something to offer the profession.
Either that or she can be on the next Comedy Central roast.
Yeah, she's good at roasting, that's for sure.
Kids only, that's her specialty.
Bad decisions from the head of a Massachusetts school district has hit the brakes on his career, at least for now, after being accused of speeding down a local highway at over 100 miles per hour while under the influence. Tuesday night, a school committee announced 55-year-old Superintendent Michael Baldessari has been placed on paid leave, effective immediately. The decision follows a dramatic early morning incident Saturday, which could have killed somebody.
It's unfortunate that someone that controlled a $30 million budget and is responsible for the education of our children has put himself in this position.
A state trooper spotted a gray Toyota Camry racing down the interstate at triple-digit speeds. According to the trooper, the car narrowly avoided a collision before being pulled over. When the officer approached the driver, things went from bad to worse for Baldessari. He had red, glassy eyes, slurred speech, and reeked of alcohol. In his defense, he admitted to having some wine, according to the trooper's complaint. After failing field sobriety tests and refusing a breathalyzer, he was arrested. He's facing a laundry list of charges, including driving under the influence, reckless operation of a motor vehicle, marked lane violations, and speeding. Adding to the serious setbacks for the speedy superintendent, investigators found a receipt in the car from a local bar, time-stamped hours before his arrest, showing at least 5 drinks. Not the 2 he said he consumed.
Troubled dude right there.
Yeah.
That lane violation, that's really going to set him back.
Yeah, that's the one he's most embarrassed about, I'm sure. According to the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, more than 2,000 people were arrested for driving while impaired during the 2024 holiday season.
Between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve, law enforcement arrested more than 2,000 people in Minnesota. While that number is high, it's about 350 fewer arrests than the year before.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Going down.
That's still a lot. It seemed that way to me. The statewide campaign involved over 300 local law enforcement agencies, with troopers in the West Metro making 247 arrests. That's the highest number in any region. The incidents included some alarming and extreme cases. In Elk River, police arrested a driver with a blood alcohol level of 0.4 or more.
Whoa, dude, how'd you even start your car?
High score.
Another driver involved in a 2-vehicle crash in Maplewood also registered a blood level, the same amount. Brooklyn Park police arrested a person with a blood alcohol level of 0.38.
Elk River, Maplewood, Brooklyn Park. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Seems low, doesn't it? The campaign also highlighted repeat offenders and troubling behaviors. One driver taken into custody had 21 prior DWI convictions. Another had 6. In a particularly stupid case, a driver was caught intoxicated with 3 young children in their vehicle. Between January and November last year, 24,000 people were arrested for driving while impaired in Minnesota. Minnesota's holiday DWI campaign revealed some alarming stories, but one recent incident in Florida might just give those cases a run for their money, specifically to the ATM. A 52-year-old man suspected of driving under the influence earned himself a trip to jail after handing deputies his debit card instead of his driver's license.
Whoops.
They were called to a Circle K where they found William Asbury passed out at his car. Body camera footage saw him wobbling next to his vehicle, only to face plant into the driver's seat moments later.
He went down, huh?
Yeah. When asked for his license, he fumbled through his belongings and confidently handed over his debit card.
Go on, bro. You got your driver's license on you? That's a debit card.
Yeah, that's not a driver's license. Following a DUI investigation, they escorted him to jail, where a test revealed a 0.19.
Some folks will never understand, Cubby.
Nope. Just won't get it through their heads. A dramatic police chase unfolded yesterday afternoon, ending in a crash and the arrest of 2 individuals. Traffic cameras showed a driver nearly careening off an interstate during running from troopers in St. Paul yesterday. The Minnesota State Patrol said the pursuit began about 4:20 p.m. when a driver failed to stop for a trooper near 94 in Cretin. That chase escalated as the motorist struck several vehicles along the way, including a State Patrol squad. The pursuit came to an end at the Riverside exit, where the driver crashed into a fence. Both the driver, a man and a passenger, attempted to flee on foot, but were quickly apprehended by the cops, who were faster runners. The driver was transported to the hospital for a non-crash-related injury. Remarkably, no other injuries were reported despite the crashes. The Minnesota State Patrol is now investigating that incident. A 29-year-old man's been charged with arson after allegedly setting fire to a western Wisconsin strip club, telling deputies the club goes against his beliefs.
Here we go.
That's just messed up. Yeah.
Here we go.
Potential murder does not, but come on. Naked ladies dancing?
Which joint was this now?
Shooters Showgirls.
What?
That is where Colton Jansen is accused of starting a fire over the weekend.
This past weekend, someone lit Shooters on fire?
Do you know where that is? You've been there before?
Yeah, of course I've been there.
It's a strip club near Menominee. According to the criminal complaint, surveillance footage shows a man inside the venue attempting to break into an ATM, a pull-tab machine, and even a stuffed animal claw machine before igniting the fire. They have a claw machine?
Yeah, the strip club. Here, kid, I won you something today.
The ladies bring their kids to work?
I won a Kermit the Frog out of that sumbitch in 1998.
Investigators tracked a potential suspect using highway license plate readers, which led them to Jansen. Initially, he denied being in Dunn County, the whole county, during the weekend, but court documents reveal he eventually confessed to the arson. He reportedly told deputies he disapproves of strip clubs, calling them disgusting, and claiming they conflict with his beliefs, and he's not a fan of those kind of clubs.
Oh, well, excuse us for having a few laps there, Mr. Judgy Pants. You don't need to light the joint on fire. How's the joint doing?
I don't know. The story didn't mention it.
Of course they didn't. If it was a bank or a school, they would have mentioned it, but since it's a strip joint, no one mentions it.
After his wife vented about her boss, a furious husband decided the best way to handle the situation was to whack the guy in the head with a shovel, which hopefully he hung on to because he dug himself a massive legal hole and he's in some serious, serious trouble. The incident caught on surveillance cameras unfolded at a supermarket Saturday. The man strolled into the store, casually browsed the gardening section, and picked out a shovel as his weapon of choice. Police say it wasn't an impulsive act of rage either. It was calculated. He wandered around with the shovel, waiting for the perfect moment. When the manager got distracted on the phone, the husband struck, literally, landing a blow to the back of the man's head. The attack was as swift as it was vicious. The manager dropped instantly. Store employees jumped in, tackling the attacker to the ground and restraining him until police arrived. Although specifics of her issue with her manager remain unclear, police reported the man's wife, who works at the store, had voiced complaints about her boss in the past. So the husband shovel-slapped the bejesus out of the guy, who suffered head and ear injuries, including some hearing loss.
Does anyone involved in that case know how Shooters is doing after being set on fire?
I'm going to guess probably not.
I'm going to check my text messages. I bet someone out there knows.
A 26-year-old woman was arrested Saturday afternoon after an argument over a hip pack led her to try to Paul Bunyan a lady in Washington. What started as a disagreement with a 27-year-old woman escalated when the suspect grabbed a red-handled wood chopping axe and demanded the victim hand over her belongings. The victim wasn't axing for trouble, but trouble came her way nonetheless. Armed with the axe, maybe a broad axe because it was a lady, the suspect chased the victim through the area, ultimately grabbing the pack before the victim escaped and called 911. Police arrested the suspect shortly after the incident.
I have terrible news.
Yep.
Listeners have texted in to tell me that Shooters is gone.
Oh,
rest in peace,
I wonder why
Shooters.
it wouldn't have said that in the story.
It burned down to the damn ground.
Wow.
Yeah, even when you go to the website page, it says permanently closed.
Oh, no. Where's the talent going to go?
They're not even...
Head east and go to Cruise and Chubby's.
They're not. Look, let's not act like. Let me just pack up and go to Cruise and Chubby's. The place is gone. Can we take a moment? Can we have a moment, Josh?
A moment of silence?
Yes, a moment of silence.
I just really like saying Cruise and
Can
Chubby's.
you imagine at the ceremony, they're out there mourning the loss. All of a sudden, they're like, all right, let's pause for reflection. She's my chick. Girls. They play a couple of songs at the funeral.
So we can't have a moment of silence then?
Oh, you wanted an actual moment of silence. Okay.
Rest in peace, Shooters. Thanks for the good times.
I'm sorry. I thought they deserved more respect. I gave them a longer moment of silence.
Double moment
Apparently,
of silence.
I've never...
We appreciate that.
I'm a bigger fan. A 32-year-old Ohio man's in trouble after a shoplifting attempt at a Walmart turned into a twin-sized fiasco. Chase Pippa apparently thought he could outsmart troopers by claiming he wasn't him, he was his twin brother. When asked for ID, he doubled down on the act, but his story didn't hold up under scrutiny. The evil twin eventually admitted he'd borrowed his brother's identity and helped himself to some portable chargers. Police weren't impressed with the sibling swap and filed misdemeanor charges, including retail theft and providing false information.
He really does have a twin.
He does have a twin, but he wasn't his twin.
And he tried to sell his twin out.
Can you imagine being the twin? What the hell, bro?
I would not appreciate that, no.
It was quite a week for Walmart. While Ohio's twin troublemaker tried to shoplift his way out of trouble, a North Carolina man took a more high-octane approach, trading stealth for a wild police chase, which ended in a dramatic crash and a week on the run. A 30-year-old, wanted on many felonies, including drug trafficking, led police on the chase last week before crashing into a ravine and vanishing into the night. 1 week ago today, officers spotted Jontavius Ellington sitting in an SUV at a Walmart in North Carolina. As they moved in to arrest him, he floored it, smashing into several cars, including police cruisers.
I'm just glad it didn't, turn out any worse. Everything happened so quickly. Anybody could have been just walking, and he could have hit them, walking into the store or anything.
The pursuit spilled onto the interstate before he lost control and crashed into the ravine. He ditched the wreck and disappeared, eluding police until early Tuesday morning when U.S. Marshals tracked him down at a hotel. Martin Lawrence is bringing the laughs back to the big stage with his first national arena tour since 2016, and he's making a stop right here in the Twin Cities. The comedy legend and actor will light up Mystic Lake Casino May 2nd and 3rd, weeks after celebrating his 60th birthday in April. Fans in Minnesota initially thought we were out of luck when Lawrence's tour kicked off last July without a stop here, but he just added 2 surprise shows at Mystic Lake.
I love that guy.
Me too. I've never seen him live. That would be something I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Lawrence ruled the 90s with popular films like Life, Blue Streak, and Big Mama House, not to mention his sitcom Martin, which still draws fans in reruns.
There's nothing you can do to get me to turn off Big Mama House. Nothing.
While recent years have seen him tag up with Will Smith for Bad Boys sequels, his stand-up remains a favorite for fans. If you've been keeping up with Hollywood buzz, you might know that he's going to be soon trading punchlines for wedding speeches. His daughter, Jasmine, is engaged to Eric Murphy, the son of legendary comedian and actor Eddie Murphy.
Are you friggin' kidding me?
Tickets for Martin Lawrence's Mystic Lake shows go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster, starting at $59.
Martin Lawrence's daughter is engaged or married, you said?
They're engaged.
To Eddie Murphy's son. That is a magical combination right
That's
there.
comedy royalty.
F me.
They're going to have a prince or princess of comedy if they have kids. The Night Agent is back on Netflix for a second season. While monitoring an emergency line, Season 1 followed FBI agent Peter Sutherland, who answered a call that plunges him into a deadly conspiracy involving a mole at the White House. Season 2 picks up where last season left off. Season 1 was pretty good.
Is that right?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Saved by the Bell, Beverly Hills 90210, and White Collar star Tiffany Hubba Hubba Thiessen is 51.
Goodness. Wow.
Rock and Roll Hall of Famer from Cheap Trick, Robin Zander, 72.
Jesus Christ, I was just listening to Robin Zander yesterday.
Talented gentleman.
I love that guy, too, very much.
Tom Hanks played him in a 2016 movie. He saved 154 lives with an emergency landing on the Hudson River in 2009.
Forrest Gump.
Plane hit a flock of geese. Andy wore a mustache way before Rooster in Top Gun Maverick. Chesley Sullenberger, 74. Chesley, it says here. Is that right?
I've never heard of the guy.
I've only ever heard his last name.
Yes, Sully, yeah. Okay, is it really Chesley?
Chesley, that's an interesting name.
Yeah, it is.
It's Chesley, huh?
Wow.
And Richard Dean Hubba Anderson, 75. Happy belated birthday to Joe from I'll Lay Anything Fuzzy Flooring Jesus. Happy 71st to Daryl without the dime bag from door swinging truck driver Jesus. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
He's very hairy and has a great disposition. Like I said, he loves to hug and he loves to give kisses.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
I wanted to stay in this division. I know this is the toughest division of football right now. There's 3 teams that made the playoffs this year. I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. Haven't competed against them for the last 6 years. Dane Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, you're talking about 2 guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Yeah, that's that new head coach of the Chicago Bears, Ben Johnson. Now, for many years, he was the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Randy Shaver, who's left to coach the Lions next year? The offensive coordinator, he gone. The defensive coordinator, he gone.
Yeah. You wonder what it's going to look like next year. Are they going to keep it up?
Does Dan Campbell have any brothers?
He kind of seems like a guy that would have a lot of brothers, doesn't he? Like the Gronkowskis.
Right.
I'm sure Dan Campbell will find two capable guys to replace Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. It won't be easy because those guys have done a tremendous job, but there's a culture being built in Detroit that I don't think it's going to be hard to find two guys that are willing to put in the time and the sacrifice to continue what they've built so far. So
they have a culture. They have a brand.
They do. It's bite your kneecap. So, they're going to be fine. Good for Aaron Glenn. He goes back to coach the Jets, the team that drafted him years ago. I was just reading his story. I don't know, Nick, if you've read his story or not.
Aaron Glenn, I bet you didn't know this. We've had beers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, his story is so amazing because he got out of football. He got into business. He owned 8 restaurants and liked it, didn't really love it, and then got the opportunity to get back into coaching and started at the very bottom. He became an NFL scout, and he was driving and flying everywhere to scout players and worked his way up to be an assistant coach, and then years later became a defensive coordinator in Detroit. So he's done every level of football.
Paid his dues.
And I was just reading last night that he and Bill Parcells are really good friends. Of course, Parcells, the legendary coach. And Parcells says this guy is going to be a great head coach. He's going to be the guy that the Jets need to turn that thing around. So good for him. He's paid his dues. Ben Johnson has kind of walked his way into a great situation in Chicago.
Do you like that cheap shot he took at the Packers head coach?
I do, because they're rivals. You got to know your audience.
Keep turning the screws, man.
You got to know your audience, and the Bears hate the Packers.
Yeah.
And so to give that line yesterday was, that's what Bears fans want to hear.
Oh, yeah. He had them jumping right off their couches last night when he said, I've enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. That'd be great to see that tide completely turn where suddenly the Bears are kicking the piss out of the Packers every time they meet. So there you go. Ben Johnson, the new head coach of the Bears, Aaron Glenn. The sources say, or is it official yet? He's going to
I think it's official,
yeah. Official. Back to what we're saying about this Aaron Glenn. The guy's, like you mentioned, he's worked his nuts off to get here. Why the hell would you take a job in New York with the Jets? It sounds like a death sentence to me.
But that's home for him.
And it's big money.
That's the team that drafted him.
I understand it, but he's got to understand what a nightmare situation
I think he does, and I think they'll give him some time to figure things out. They got the first thing they've got to do is figure out quarterback. Once they've
got a quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback.
He's got a show on HBO. It's called The Enigma.
Yeah, I don't think he's
or whatever the channel. It doesn't matter the friggin' channel.
I've been tempted. Like there's an evil temptress that I almost click on it every once in a while, and then I kind of come to and go, "What am I doing?" I almost clicked on that. Has anyone here watched it?
No.
Aaron Rodgers' Enigma.
I've seen some clips that have gone viral, and that's enough for me.
I couldn't stomach that. So he needs a quarterback. He needs a lot of things over there. Okay, that's the team that drafted him, but my God, what an S-storm to walk into. If I were Aaron Glenn, I would have taken a job in a much lower-profile ball club.
But think about where he came from, too, though, because Detroit was a mess when Dan Campbell walked in there.
Well, that's true.
He's already seen what a mess looks like. And he's seen what it takes to turn something like that around. So, look, if the Detroit Lions can be turned around into a team that can compete for the NFC Championship, the New York Jets can be turned around. So.
And you know what? We all must have enjoyed the shot of Aaron Glenn in that over-dramatic final game of the season between the Vikings and Lions. After the Lions had completely greased the field with the Vikings' blood, they show a shot of Aaron Glenn just sitting on the bench doing nothing while the ball game is happening. Do you remember that shot?
Yeah.
That was funny. Defensive coordinator for the Lions, just sitting on the bench. Yeah, the guy's got this. I don't got to do it. That was good. Yeah, many, many years ago at a charity event. Josh, tell me if you've ever been this guy. I think I already know the answer because, you're a little more shy in situations like this. Years ago at a charity event, I completely interrupted. I'm going to be a name dropper here. I completely interrupted a conversation between Aaron Glenn and former NFL quarterback Matt Hasselbeck. I completely interrupted the two of them so I could drink beers with them.
Were they cool with it?
And they accepted me.
Oh, that's good.
They accepted me.
Yeah, sometimes that wouldn't go so well.
Like Matt Hasselbeck was like, remember that game in Arizona a few years ago? And I said, hey, dudes.
I love that for you.
Yeah. What's going on? You're Matt Hasselbeck, aren't you? You're Aaron Glenn. And they said, yeah.
Fangirling.
They let me hang out for a little while, Smashly.
That's so cool.
They did.
Very cool of them.
Very intoxicated.
I like them even more now.
I was very intoxicated.
Oh.
All right. All right. So let's continue talking football then while we're at it. Now, don't get too excited about this. But it says here, Patrick Mahomes and his antics could force the NFL, that's how they call their league, right? The National Football League. Patrick Mahomes and his silly antics could force the National Football League to create a flopping penalty before next season. Now, the reason why I say don't get too excited is the NBA currently has a flopping rule, but effing Steph Curry and James Harden and that friggin' cone Chris Paul and Dinkus from the Mavericks, what's his name again? What's the guy from the Mavericks?
Doncic?
The chubby kid, Doncic.
Luka?
They are the current flopping kings in the NBA. It hasn't slowed them down at all, the flopping rule in the NBA. So I'm saying don't get excited if the NFL adopts a flopping penalty.
But doesn't it seem like when they adopt they try and really set a precedent at the beginning at least?
At the beginning of the season,
there's a new rule.
They push the hell out of it.
It's almost annoying.
And then they forget about it for the rest of time.
Yeah.
That's a conversation going around.
They basically overcall it to begin with.
Like, I forget what it's called, but, like we're lining up now in the offense where if somebody's a little too far back,
right,
they call that. And they called that a lot this year.
Right. Remember, there was a Chiefs offensive lineman who was abusing that rule in the playoffs last year.
Yep.
Terribly. And, of course, the Chiefs didn't get called for it. So there's an uproar about this odd formation that the offensive lineman is taking. The NFL says, well, we're going to go after that this season. They beat the piss out of it for 2 weeks, and it went away.
Yeah, you didn't see it as much. Either they were figuring it out or, the refs just said, all right, we'll move on to something else.
Because it's gotten out of hand. We talked about that yesterday. All this flopping and Patrick Mahomes nonsense out there. Oh, God, they shoved me. I'm Patrick Mahomes. I had the football in my hand. They shoved me. Where's the flag? And the refs go, oh, okay, flag? Yeah, you got it. 15 yards, first time. Totally
Do you
out
think
of hand.
that reminds me, I wanted to ask you and Randy if you ever thought, you know how you can get like a penalty for like flopping too much in the NHL?
Well, diving is what they call it.
Do you think they'll ever put something like that in the NFL?
Well, that's what we were just talking about.
Are you serious? Where'd you go?
Ashley wins the completely not paying attention award for the day.
I'm so sorry I zoned out for like a quick minute. That must have been right when you guys talked about it. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it for a bit.
We were I was loud about it. I was quite adamant about it.
Exactly.
I've told you before, you know what? I mean, we're not for everybody. But sometimes the show's kind of entertaining.
You would think.
I've learned a lot during this segment over the years. There's so many knowledgeable people who are very knowledgeable about sports. I've learned a lot. There's some laughs involved.
You could learn something. You could have a good time if you listen to this show. Now,
and there's goofy stories, regular sports stories. There's a little bit of everything.
I was afraid to bring that up because I thought so, but I was like, maybe not. Maybe I'll go for it.
Did you hear at all? Did you hear at all our conversation about floppers in the NBA? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Give me one name that I said out loud.
Oh, I don't know basketball names.
At any rate, answer Josh's question. Where did you go?
I was reading something.
You were reading something. What were you reading? Now, see, we're going to throw you under the bus now. What were you reading? What was so much more interesting than what we were talking about on the show.
I was reading an email about the Snap construction ads.
Now, see, that's an off the air, like after the show thing.
We work on ads after the show.
My bad.
That's all right.
If someone's at work and they completely spaced out and missed 20 minutes of this show, I totally understand. But you're sitting in the same room with us.
Yeah. No, we should. Well, I'll start having Ashley, where did she go check. I'll just, every once in a while, I'll look at you and see if you're in La La Land.
I've been losing my mind last month or two.
Where's Ashley?
Randy, I have a solution. Shock collars.
Oh, that's a good one. You know, you, at least Ashley will give you credit. You used to fall asleep. And you haven't done that in a while. Maybe your lifestyle's changed.
Isn't that something? Boy, are we coddling?
Yeah, all my vices are gone now, Josh.
That's true. You've given up everything.
Do you think we coddle young people, Josh, a little bit? I mean,
We've been accused of that.
You just complimented her for being awake.
You're right. I just realized that.
She did. She used to fall asleep on the show.
Yeah, you're supposed to stay awake at work.
So there's been an improvement. You're awake, just not listening.
I gave you way more credit than you probably deserve for that.
Hey, Nick, just a step at a time, right?
Yeah, baby steps.
One step at a time.
On a separate topic, did you guys hear what Ben Johnson said about Matt LaFleur? It was absolutely hilarious. Just what Bears fans wanted to hear, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's unbelievable, Randy Shaver. Anyone in the mood to be ripped off?
Josh, you're the reason why I listen to this show.
Well, I got one.
Yesterday, we learned his son doesn't even listen.
No.
Yeah, that's what we learned, yes.
The kids hate me. I'll find out. They'll tell me what's going on other radio stations that they find more entertaining.
Is it the same reason my parents don't listen, or my family, though? They just don't want to know because we talk about weird stuff sometimes?
For my kids?
Yeah, because
they're
I
just
could
not
see
interested.
that.
They don't care.
Yeah, that's a real simple answer for my folks as well. They just never took any interest in this program at all.
Yeah, it just gets a little too weird for my family sometimes. They don't need to know everything, they say.
Ronan Engineer Jesus said, sorry, I got my headphones on with the ham show streaming. What just happened? I zoned out for a bit. You're going to have to go back and listen.
If you're in the mood to be ripped smooth off, the Philadelphia Eagles are charging $50 in trade. They'll give you what they call authenticated snow that fell onto the field during their playoff win over the Rams last weekend.
It's so funny.
All you have to do is give them $50 in trade, and they'll give you a small can of snow.
What do you think are the top 3 franchises where the fans would pay for that?
Packer fans.
Well, I'd say, and this is not a rip on Packer fans, but my friends that are Packer fans, they have everything you can buy that has Packers on.
They all do. They have to just bury themselves in memorabilia. Yes, they're all like that.
Well, they buy those fake certificates that say that they're owners, but it doesn't really entitle them to anything other than the piece of paper.
It's the saddest group of people on planet Earth. The top 3 franchises to pay for something like that, I think you have to include Eagles fans. They are insane. Probably Cowboys fans.
I thought Bills fans might be on
sure.
that.
Name all the biggest fan bases. You'd have to say Packers, Cowboys, and then go ahead, maybe Bills, maybe Eagles. Anyway,
college, would you say like Hoosier fans or
Hoosier?
Or I'm trying to think of like people I know who are fans who had everything.
College football, you're talking?
Yeah, any college sport. I mean, name your favorite college sport.
Oh yeah. So this wasn't even this was just a divisional playoff game, by the way. This wasn't the NFC title. This wasn't a Super Bowl, obviously. It was just a divisional game where they beat the Rams. Yes, it snowed. So the Eagles try to make.
So you're basically giving people a can of water.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I would imagine you put it in your freezer or something. I mean, why don't you just come to my house, kick in the door, and steal $50 out of my wallet while I sleep? I wouldn't give you 10 cents for a can of snow. I don't care what the hell.
Exactly. That's just dumb.
I know a lot of fans who have, maybe dirt from a field that's no longer there.
Sure.
And that's different. This is literally, like you said, Randy, this is a jar of water you're getting.
I think it's weird to have any of that stuff.
Nick, you didn't spend any money on it, but you fell for that for just a split second and then realized, what have I done?
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to Kiss.
Yeah. This was 25 years ago. We got a visit in studio from Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons of Kiss. And, of course, as you've heard me mention many times, these were my absolute heroes growing up. I worshipped everything about Kiss from the time I was 5 years old, and this is my first crack at meeting them in the radio studio. And they came in. We had a good time. Paul Stanley was wonderful. Gene Simmons was a miserable prick, of course, because he's such an arrogant douchebag, and I can't believe I spent that much time of my life worshiping such a bag of dicks. But anyway, so we're in studio, and Paul Stanley, who was always my favorite anyway, he and Ace, Paul left a water bottle behind. He half consumed a plastic bottle of water, and when the interview was over, they left. And I put the cap on the bottle and I took it home. This is Paul Stanley's water bottle. That's what I was thinking to myself for an hour or two. And then once I got home, I looked at the bottle sitting on my counter and I said, what the hell am I doing? And I threw it away. $50 for a can of snow, the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's their gimmick.
No.
That's got to be one of those where it's late at night. You're maybe a little too drunk, like you and your ab roller.
Ab roller. Actually, Ab Dolly.
That's right, the Ab Dolly.
Which was sold on television at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, what do they call those, infomercials?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and this is many years ago also. It was sold on air by former NFL quarterback Jake Plummer.
Oh.
He advertised the Ab Dolly. I bought it. Now, the difference there is that thing actually did serve a purpose. That thing did work. Not that I was rolling up and down the house every night on it, but
it's one of those purchases where after you buy, you go, what was I doing?
I would actually call that a quality product, though. It really was.
Worked out well for you then.
Yeah, listen to this. Back to the $50, Copenhagen can sized of snow. You understand what I mean. I mangled that sentence. Back to the $50 can of snow that the Eagles want to sell you. You can pick it up at their ticket office, but if you're not able to make it to the ticket office, all you have to do is give them an extra $15 and they'll ship it to your doorstep. So now you're out $65 for a can of snow.
It's really not that bad for shipping.
$15?
No, I was looking at this teeny girl. She's like a really popular chef. She's all over social media, and she's selling like this crab dip, and it's like a $70 shipping charge or something like that.
So
people are upset about it. It's going around on the internet.
A listener sent me a funny picture here. It's a picture of a sad man. He's sitting in a chair, looks like at a coffee shop or something like that, and he looks very sad, and he's dressed head to toe like Gene Simmons from Kiss, circa 1975 Dress to Kill tour. And you Kiss fans know what uniform and what look I'm referring to. So it's a sad man, and the outfit is very authentic looking. He does look good. You know, he looks very much like Gene Simmons, only he looks sad. And the verbiage here says, when you hit your 50s and you can only rock and roll some nights and party every third day. All right, what else is going on, Randy Shaver? You know, police caught the dudes who broke into Joe Burrow house.
Oh, they did?
And, you know, one of the many athletes now that's having their front door kicked in by derelicts, and they lose their Super Bowl rings and their NBA this and their NHL that. Hilarious what cops encountered when they pulled these scumbags over. They pulled over a car, a couple of dudes in the car. Police body cam footage showed that one of the idiots was wearing a Bengals stocking cap.
They were a lot dorkier looking than I pictured.
Very dorky.
I pictured more Ocean's 11. You know, they're this well-organized group.
These are just like chubby teenage kids.
I mean, they look like total nerds.
Now, I don't know if he stole the Bengals cap smooth out of Joe Burrow's house, but it looked brand new. The car reeked like marijuana.
Of course.
Police searched the car. They found a designer bag and a suitcase that contained an LSU T-shirt. That's where Joe Burrow went to school. The officers also found window punchers wrapped in a towel inside the glove box. Again, these crooks are so dumb. You're driving around town. Number one, you're higher than a giraffe's ass. And you're driving around with evidence of your crimes in the car. I don't understand.
I don't understand why they would waste any time taking any of the clothes.
Well, I'm sure that was just the icing on the cake of the expensive things that they stole. I mean, I'll take if I'm stealing somebody's safe and their watch and their jewelry, I'm probably also going to take a T-shirt and a hat while I'm at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I mean, while I'm here, might as well snatch a hat. So why do these guys, why not find a hiding place for your loot? Instead, the cops very easily put 2 and 2 together here, Josh.
Yeah, very stupid.
Probably so high they forgot about it being in the car.
But this was months ago.
Exactly.
You've been high for a month?
Weed causes short-term memory loss. They probably forgot about it right away.
But Josh is right. These guys did not look dangerous.
No. I clicked on the picture so fast. I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to be Brad Pitt and George Clooney. Nope.
No.
This guy, like... I mean, the one kid in particular, it's like a meme.
Yeah. He looked like the dude that got tuned up in your high school hallway.
Yeah, like the Daily.
Yeah.
The kid that was picked on mercilessly.
Maybe that's why they turned to a life of crime.
Could be.
Some of us are in mourning this morning. Randy Shaver.
About what?
Shooters is gone. We learned this during Josh's news report. Shooters showgirls in Menominee, Wisconsin, burned to the ground because some mental case. You've been there, right?
Oh, no. No, I've heard of it. I've never been there.
Some lunatic said that topless bars and such are against his beliefs. You know, so this is how we react nowadays.
How's prison for his beliefs?
He'll find out.
He burned the joint to the ground. This is heartbreaking. I mean, the owner is the employees is terrible. I've been there quite a few times. I just wanted to throw a couple texts your way on the topic. All of, not just Randy, but everybody. Listener texted and said Shooters is completely gone, and the guy who did it looks like a douche. Is that correct, Josh?
Oh, yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Oh, this is against my beliefs, he says. So he burns it to the ground. It's especially heartbreaking when I read a text message like this. What it do, Jesus texted in to say. The last time I was at Shooters, he said, I swear to God, the stripper actually loved me.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah. Yeah, but it sounds like this was real.
Like it was real love.
Well, that's what he says. I swear the stripper actually loved me. This sounds like real love. And that adds to the pain of the place being gone. What did do, Jesus? He experienced real love.
That was nice of you to give her so much money.
What is your problem today?
She was talking about a previous story, I think.
Timberwolves squeezed by the junior varsity version of the Dallas Mavericks last night.
Yeah, pretty much. Guys I've never heard of.
Yeah. This was not an entertaining basketball game in the first half. It was terrible, terrible. But they got the win.
Yeah, that's all that matters right now, right? I mean, they're still like in that play-in situation right now in the West, and so is Dallas, for that matter. I think they're actually tied for like the 7th spot in the West. So every game is critical for the Wolves from here on out, and they've got to figure out what it looks like without DiVincenzo, because their bench is. I mean, last night they played really 7.5 guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dillingham played 9 minutes, but
Baby Dill.
In all honesty, Reed and Alexander Walker were the only guys that played for them off the bench. So that kind of thing will be hard to sustain throughout the rest of the year. It'll be interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline. If they're in a position to make any sort of moves, and some of it will probably depend on DiVincenzo and when he can come back. It's too bad because the guy was playing really well since they moved him into that starting spot, and then he gets hurt, and it just takes away their depth. So, but I mean, right now they're just trying to hang on to a play-in position at this point, and then we'll kind of see where it takes them from there.
I heard a trade rumor for the Timberwolves, and it was a trade for a guard that currently plays for the Utah Jazz by the name of Colin Bydam Sexton.
Sure.
That's the one trade rumor.
Good player. Good offensive player.
A lot of the credit for last night's win goes to Jaden McDaniels. He went for a career-high 27 points. Mike Conley Jr. was terrific. Up next, the Timberwolves are at home to play effing Denver on Saturday.
And then I think they get Atlanta, so the schedule is pretty tough over the next 2 weeks, or next 2 games.
The NBA and multiple college basketball conferences postponed games because of the winter weather that's kicking everybody's ass down in the southern part of the United States. You know, they're not used to that type of thing.
No. I know. I'm down here. I've seen it.
Oh, right. I forget you're in Florida. I totally forgot you were out of town. It's not snowing where you're at, though, is it, Randy?
It is not, no, but...
North of you.
We drove through Jacksonville, and not far from Jacksonville the other day, it snowed on the beach.
Yeah.
So it's crazy weather, and Texas just got hammered. So.
Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, they're getting inches and inches of snow, and they don't know how to deal with this kind of a thing.
No, they don't. Nobody drives on that stuff.
No.
Yeah, they just shut the world down
they have
for
no plows,
a couple days.
They just wait for it to melt.
They did have some plows. I think it was either Florida or Texas. I can't remember what state, but they did call in some reinforcements.
They called some cats from Michigan or something to come down.
Yeah, they've had to do that before.
So,
like Randy said, they just don't have the trucks.
No, they don't have it. There's no reason to have it.
And they can't travel, for a ball game. No one knows how to drive in the stuff down there. They're not prepared for it. So
somebody texted earlier and said our pal C. Willie Miles, he's stuck in it.
Oh, no.
He's down south, and he wants to come home and can't.
F me. The Bucks and Pelicans were to play last night in New Orleans, but they had to call it off. Now, I've never heard of this before. I didn't know winter storms were given names. I know tropical storms get a name dumped on them. The article calls this winter storm Enzo.
Oh, Enzo Amore.
That's the first thing that came to mind for me, too, is Enzo Amore.
I know one.
Is it a winter storm only if it hits in the southern part of the country?
Good question.
Is that where is that why they name it?
Ask around. Ask those Floridians down there.
Is this storm a certified G and you can't teach that?
It's behaving that way. It's behaving like a certified G. Remember when Enzo Amore went to sleep during a live match? You could look this up on YouTube. It was one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen while watching television wrestling. Enzo Amore and his partner, Big Cass, were wrestling a tag team years ago on the WWE. They were the old-timey guys. Who were they, Wapple? They twisted up their mustaches with wax.
Mustache Mountain.
No. They looked like it was 1812. That was their gimmick. Brilliant Vince McMahon gimmick. He loves the twisty mustache. They looked like they were on the Titanic. Who were those guys, that tag team? They were called the Throwbacks, the old-timey guys. Anyway.
Oh, FTR.
No, not FTR. You'll get there. They were the old-timey guys. And they're wrestling Enzo Amore and Big Cass. And the gimmick was, one of the old-timey guys was to fire, because Enzo's a tiny little guy, fire Enzo into the ropes as hard as he can, because Enzo could take it. And he was a good athlete. He could, be very agile. I believe the plan was I'm going to throw you into the ropes as hard as I can. You go through the ropes and outside the ring, right? But Amore caught his skull on one of the ropes, and it knocked him completely out cold.
Night.
And they had a camera shot of him, Josh. It was scary. He's lying on his back outside the ring, and he is full-on snoring.
Oh, no. That's a bad sign. Was it the Mustache Gang?
No. They were called like the
Vaudevillains?
The Vaudevillains. That's who they were. And they would come out to, the sound of old Irish music or something. It was terrible.
Like so creepy.
It was terrible.
Was Big Cass 7 feet tall and you can't teach that?
Yes. But I'm telling you, Amore was just...
Dude, those guys look so creepy.
Look it up on YouTube. It's a hilarious video. He was fine, for Christ's sake. Randy Shaver likes to swing from the jock of Oklahoma City point guard Sean Gilbert Alejandro. What the hell is his name again?
Gilgeous Alexander.
Shea Gilgeous Alexander.
Yes. Alejandro.
Last night he had his first 50-point game in the National Basketball Association.
That team is so good.
He scored 54 points. I know they're very
so good.
It's sickening how good they are.
I mean, and think about the draft picks they still have that they still own. It's whoever the GM is of that team, they have set themselves up for just success for years down the road.
It's troubling.
Oh, I just looked at the standings. I didn't realize they were 7 games up.
Oh.
Well, dude, what are they, like 38-6 or something?
36-7.
Jesus.
They're 20-2 at home. And think about this for a second. Look at the top 2 teams in the West. OKC and Houston.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that would be the top 2 teams in the West?
Well, OKC, I think, was an
for sure. But
common pick.
If you would think about this 5 years ago,
right,
you would have said, oh, there's no way. I mean, both those programs were struggling, but man, he's really good, isn't he?
Yes, he is. I like his cousin better, though. I do. That would be, don't tell me, Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker,
Tuesday night, LeBron James messed around and got a triple-double. And so that made him the second player ever with a triple-double after turning 40 years old. Who was the first to do it? Go! First guy over 40 to mess around and get a triple-double.
I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. Mustache is a good hint. And Mormons. Those are the hints. Mustache and Mormons.
Oh, Karl Malone?
Karl Malone.
Okay.
The Pigs and the Hockey Club start up tonight, 7 o'clock over there in St. Paul.
Okay.
If you're not going down to the rink, the game will be shown on ESPN+. They say they are, quote, cautiously, Josh, you say
cautiously
it.
optimistic.
Josh, they say that they're cautiously optimistic about the Russian kid and J-Ron Spurgeon coming back tonight. We'll see about that.
That would be nice.
The New Jersey Devils honored their former Stanley Cup winning coach and the dude who got the Pigs started behind the bench here. Yeah, the guy who first coached the Pigs 25 years ago and a guy who won a cup behind the bench for the Devils, Jacques Lemaire. They dumped him into the team's Ring of Honor. Boy, that brings back great memories to talk about Jacques Lemaire.
Yeah.
He is a terrific guy. I got to be around him a couple times, and he's just a smiley, friendly, wonderful guy.
Did a hell of a job here.
He's a 79-year-old man now.
Yeah.
Coached the Devils to their first title in 1995. They put on a nice ceremony for Lemaire last night. He was joined on the ice by some of his former players, Martin Brodeur, Scott Stevens. Scott Stevens would hit you so hard, your mother would fall out of bed. When he was young, Scott Stevens was a dangerous man. Scott Niedermeyer. And Larry Robinson was there. Speaking of mustaches. And how many cups did Jacques win as a player? 8?
Whoa.
8 or 9?
Wow.
With Les Habitants.
Montreal.
Yeah. One of the greatest to ever play the game. And obviously he could coach a little bit. And I've told you before, one of the coolest experiences of my life, is I was lucky enough to be invited to a couple, 3 of these. Come out and skate at the X if you're a media dork, and we'll throw some X players on the ice, and you can act like you matter for a few minutes. You know that gimmick?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, actually, this was a little different. This was a deal where Jacques Lemaire, Mario Tremblay, Mason was the goaltender coach at the time. What was his first name? I can't remember his name. Nice guy. Darby Hendrickson was out there. So you kind of come out with the Pigs coaches, and you actually we ran through some drills and whatnot, so they taught you a thing or two, even though most of us were 40 and whatnot.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
If you screwed up, did they make you do the bag skate?
Bag skate,
like the Herbies?
Oh no, they're very kind to us.
Again.
Oh yeah.
Again.
There was no
Herbs,
no
someone's gonna get hurt
on the ice.
There were not punishments dished out. So anyway, We ran through some drills and whatnot. So that was really cool for, guys of that caliber to be showing you this and that. But then we actually did play a game, a scrimmage. And I ended up on a forward line with Jacques Lemaire and Mario Tremblay. And we scored a goal. It went into the record books as born from Tremblay and Lemaire. It was a 3-on-2, and we executed it perfectly. Bing, bing, bing. I got the goal, assist from Lemaire and Tremblay. And I remember in that moment thinking to myself, I was just able to do something that a teenage French-Canadian kid in the 70s would have killed to do.
Yeah.
That felt pretty special.
It's too bad that Sickman couldn't have devised some sort of a box score to give you that write-up.
You know what?
That you could have framed.
They did give us a big pamphlet of stuff. It was really cool because Tom Reed and Bob Kurtz were out there, and they introduced the lineup as if we were somebody. At left wing from a radio show, Nick Bourne, whatever. They treated it like it was a real deal. There you go. All
Somebody
right.
sent that Enzo Amore video, and I just watched it. How did he not die?
Dude.
He looks like he died before he hit the ground.
Did you see the snoring?
Yeah, I couldn't hear it, obviously, but I was looking at it. He was out. I mean, that guy, instantaneously out.
Deep sleep.
That was scary. I bet if you were watching that live, you thought, oh, God, they killed him. That was terrible.
Randy Shaver, there you go.
Go for women. Played a tough game last night. Lost a tough one to Michigan, but give them credit. They battled pretty hard, and they're still having a great season, but tough loss last night to Michigan.
You're the kind of guy that'll battle hard.
I'll try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally forgot you were down in Florida. We got about a minute or two left.
I'll have to send you my picture of me sitting on the finish line of the Daytona 500.
What?
Yeah.
My baby brother just won the Daytona 500. Who was that direct quote? That was a Darrell Waltrip talking about Michael years ago.
Yeah. Have you ever been?
Never have.
Okay. Nick, it's the first time we took a tour of the Daytona track.
Oh, that'd be cool.
On Monday, and it was colder than snot, okay? And they drive you around in one of those
pace cars.
Open carts. It's like you're at the fair and they drive you around, okay?
Yeah.
But they actually drove the track. First, the grade on turn 3.
Yeah, the banking.
31 degrees. It's like you're walking straight uphill.
Right.
And you sit there and you go, how in the world do they drive this thing? Anyway.
At 175 miles an hour.
Yep. They stopped us on the finish line. I'll send you guys a couple of pics of me actually. And the pictures don't do it justice either because you can't tell the grade because the grade at the finish line is 18 degrees. So, again, it's like walking up a hill. It's amazing. But
cool experience.
It was because we have tickets. We're going. In February.
Oh, that'll be cool.
We're going to be at Daytona.
You're going this year, huh?
We are, yeah. So very excited. But, I mean, just to get that sense of what it looks like before you actually get there for a race was amazing.
Good for you, Randy Shaver. Good
amazing.
You will be a hillbilly before we're done with you. We will. Hanging out at Daytona and whatnot. Thanks, exactly. Randy. We got to get going. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See ya.
Text us if your house pet has a problem. Coming up next, Dr. Andrea Johnston will be in studio to answer your questions to text number 651-989-9393. What's the deal with your dog? Dr. Andrea will straighten you out next on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum, he knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Let's get inside of Kevin Smith. This is a great house. Who knew playing Lex Luthor would pay this well? Now I want to see Gene Hackman's place, John Cryer's place. None will be as cool. And let's get inside of the great Tom Hopper.
I always love it when you have these long-form conversations, because you do these press tours. They come with this energy, the host.
What's it like? So tough.
And I just love just having a normal conversation.
And that's sort of what the podcast is.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's 8:29. Welcome back to the program and welcome our guest in studio, Dr. Andrea Johnston from Gurman Animal Hospital in Minnetonka. She's here to help listeners who have a concern about their house pet. The number is 651-989-9393 if you have a question. Hello, Dr. Andrea.
Good morning. How are you?
Welcome back. We're doing good. Sorry it's so cold outside.
I know.
Sorry it's so cold in here.
It's good. It's all good.
Need to get a heater in here.
Better than Tuesday.
Way better.
Oh, yeah.
Way better. Things have improved. It's good to see you again. Before we dive into all of the questions that are flying into our text machine, Josh knows very well. When Dr. Andrea shows up and we start fielding questions via the text machine, it's like you and I are... you know the video you see of the folks at the stock exchange where they're, you know what I'm talking about? Where they're spinning around and they're picking up the phone and they're tapping on their computer.
That's exactly it. It's killed our text machine here. And that happens, right, when they come in too quick.
Yeah, I thought something was happening there, yeah.
You gas the system because
I'm
you're
glad I can help.
Yes. Before we get to the questions, though, I understand, Dr. Andrea, you have a very interesting story you'd like to share with us about a recent surgery.
Yeah. I had a dog come in on Tuesday afternoon emergently for getting into the garbage.
Okay.
And the dog was obstructed, and on x-ray, there was just a ton of stuff in the stomach.
Oh, boy.
So I went in surgically, and I removed 15 used tampons and 4 sanitary napkins.
Oh, no.
Man.
Wow.
This dog has a very specific appetite.
Yeah.
Oh, my damn.
Holy cow,
Yeah,
though.
70-pound dog. I pulled 15 out of the stomach.
What?
Dog had an appetite.
Like a lot of
The funny part is that this dog had 8 additional scoped out of the stomach and then pooped out 2 more the next day.
Wow. How many tampons?
That's a heavy flow month.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
24 tampons.
Wow.
So is this a sorority?
They must never take their trash out. What?
This dog lives in the ladies' locker room at the
women's
YMCA
prison or something?
I know, right?
That's
it was,
impressive.
yeah, the amount that we took out was around 1 pound of material.
Oh,
man.
wow. So, I mean, did you guys film when you told the dog owner what was going on?
I took some pictures. We did not film it, but yeah.
I would love the react. Were you?
They had suspected just because they knew what was in their garbage.
Yeah.
They did, okay.
So they're going to have to come up with a whole new system at this house.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get trash cans with lids and locks and whatnot.
Yeah.
I keep mine in a drawer for that very reason. And they've even managed to figure out, like, if it's cracked just a little bit, how to get it open and tip over the trash can. Then mom's yelling.
Will the dog go through some kind of withdrawal for a stretch of time?
Yeah, I know. Just make them dangerous once a month.
What? If you cut yourself, you better get away from that dog.
Well, this leads into a question. The first question I had was from, it looks like a normal Peach Sheezus, who said she has a Cavachon.
Yep.
Who eats tampons.
No way.
Said, I just pulled one out of its butt the other day. What could happen? That's not where you're supposed to put them, though.
Yeah.
I've learned that.
Cavalier Bichon, we were just talking about that. So Cavachon, they eat tampons, and the risk, just like socks and diapers, is are they going to pass? But here's the thing. If you ever see a string hanging out of your dog or cat's butt, you're not supposed to pull it because it could be connected further up somewhere.
Oh, Lord.
That's the same with an uncle's finger. Never pull it. I fell for that before.
Yeah, I mean, you think maybe you're just going to yank out something that's a little ways enclosed, but it could be, God, you could pull their insides out.
Yeah,
But
so
they
like
look at
cats
you.
that eat dental floss and things like that, it could still be connected to the pyloric sphincter in the stomach and run the entire intestines out through the colon.
Oh, wait.
So
You end up killing them dead.
There's plenty of times where, like, you know, you see your dog struggling out in the lawn, and they're looking at you like, "Hey, can you help me out?" Are you just like, do they just like come back into your house and you just like let it hang?
If they're consistently straining and it looks like it's on the way out, kind of like the tampon, if they knew it was a tampon, I would probably pull that.
Okay.
Well, what about we had a dog that ate a plastic bag, and it was kind of hanging out.
That's okay.
He eventually got it out on his own, thank God.
Yeah, it's more like the yarn, string,
and things like
that.
That would devastate me if I'm just trying to help my dog out and I pull his guts out onto the lawn, for God's sake.
It's like a magician with all the handkerchiefs.
Yeah, that's good advice, because we all know somebody, or we personally have been in that situation, and you want to help the dog. And
It's the worst.
Yeah.
that was a great story, Dr. Andrea. We appreciate
Never
that.
a dull day.
I guess
No,
Never.
no.
Is that the number one most bizarre surgery story you have, or is there one that rivals?
That was bizarre just because they kept coming. Like, it wasn't just like 2 or 3. It was just like, and another one, and another one.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Like a comedy show. Now, do you keep official records of things like that so you can share these stories at conventions and things like that?
There's plenty of stories to go around.
Oh,
for
hell
sure.
yeah.
Is there one that's infamous in the veterinary world?
You know, there's one X-ray that circulates periodically where there's like a full like steak knife in the intestine, and I'm not sure like how true is that. Is it just some AI generated thing? But I've seen that one go around quite a bit.
Oh, I'd like to.
Yeah.
I mean, horrible to think that your dog has swallowed a steak knife. Is that even possible? I mean, I guess Josh, didn't we go to? We saw it at the Midway at the State Fair once.
Yeah.
That was a human being swallowing a sword. Anyway, great story.
Yeah.
Dr. Andrea, question begins. My cat, Fred, turns 19 next month.
Wow.
That's a hell of a poke right there.
Yeah.
Fred is a big purrer. And the question is simple. Do cats purr even when they're in pain?
Well, some cats have a louder motor like that when they purr, but most cats, if they're comfortable and content and happy, they purr.
I would say purring 9 times out of 10 is a good thing.
Yeah, unless the cat's showing other signs of pain.
Well, I think this guy's just worried that it's 19, this cat, and I think maybe he's just concerned overall. He says, Fred purrs a lot. Does he even purr when he's in pain? And you're saying...
he'd be if he's in pain, it's not a lot because he's still purring.
Yeah, there you go.
I kind of like this.
Maybe the dog enjoys, the cat enjoys a little bit of pain. We don't know.
What it do, Jesus, says Dr. Andrea, my dog gets weird skin tags on his unit. Oh. We pluck it off, but it grows back in the same spot.
You pluck it off?
What? You're poor.
You pluck it off.
You're able to pull that off?
Yeah, sometimes you can just 1, 2, 3 yank those little skin tags.
Really?
What?
Yeah, you see those people with ones that are just hanging, but you have to kind of cut it at the base to make sure it doesn't grow back. So go in and like take an incision and put a little stitch in there.
Okay.
And then it won't come back.
Okay. So what? This dog keeps growing extra cargo on his unit. They remove it, and what was the other?
It comes back.
It comes back.
Yeah.
Maybe it's on purpose.
It just it's like cutting a tree, and you don't cut it, or a plant, and then it just regrows.
You got to get it at the root.
Get it at the base. Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
A dog, one of our listeners' dogs, has Cushing's disease.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're familiar?
Yep.
Dog is on medication. This is funny. The listener says, I get his levels checked often. Cha-ching. So that costs a few bucks. But he's still obsessed with food. Well, first off, what is Cushing's disease?
Yeah, so Cushing's disease is where the adrenal glands that sit near the kidneys actually pump out more steroid than they should. So they're on overdrive. I mean, that's the layman's way of explaining it. So they act like they're on steroids.
Okay.
They drink a lot of water. They have a ravenous appetite. They pant. They have a pot-bellied appearance. I would consider a couple things. One, if you haven't checked levels recently, cha-ching, I would check that again just to make sure. Sometimes you can just tweak it a little bit to decrease that that side effect of Cushing's. But it also might just be a very food-motivated dog if the other symptoms have gone away.
You know, this individual says, constantly whining for food, licks the carpet and floors for crumbs, gives me death stares to feed him.
Yeah, I mean, you can supplement with like other things, apples, carrots, celery, things like that to make the dog feel full, or consider switching up the food. But I'd make sure those levels are good, and if they are, then it's probably more behavioral and just wants to eat.
Is there anything more adorable than watching your cat eat a carrot?
I don't know. My cat won't eat a carrot.
I'm sorry. Did I say cat?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I meant dog.
Yeah.
I got so many texts here in front of me. When a dog eats a carrot, I just want to give him a big hug.
It is pretty cute.
It's
You're
a very
right.
satisfying crunch, too.
Yeah.
Lake Street Handshake Jesus has an 11-year-old Rottweiler. Bloody diarrhea last weekend.
Oh, no.
And he said it happened the same time last year, if that's related or not.
Usually if it's bright red blood, it's colitis, so inflammation from the colon. Blood in dogs' poop is less alarming than it is in people. We see it a lot from stress. So if the dog was boarded, if the dog got into something in the yard, if something's different at home causing the dog to be stressed out, they can get bloody diarrhea.
I had
stress
that happen.
colitis.
I had that happen to one of my stress colitis.
Stress colitis, gastroenteritis, hemorrhagic gastroenteritis.
I had a dog that went with the blood pooping for a while, and he was fresh out of a boarding situation. And
Yep.
here is a dog called a Chiggy.
Chiggy. Chihuahua something?
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
I wish I had the other end of that for you. This is a behavioral issue now, Dr. Andrea.
Okay.
He took to my husband at first, this lady says, but now he growls. Oh, okay. The lady says the dog took to her husband. I guess so much so now that the dog growls at her and snaps at her when she gets into bed at night.
Oh, that would make me mad.
He sleeps with my husband.
Yeah.
She's very jealous. But it's getting frustrating that he snaps at me when I come to bed. What the hell can this lady do to not get snapped at?
So, two things. Chihuahua Corgi mix is what it is.
Oh. They look so silly.
And those are very kind of alpha temperamental breeds. So you're putting the two together. They're stubborn. So that dog thinks that it is higher on the food chain than she is. So you have to kind of restart that. The dog should probably not be in bed when she gets into bed. Should be placed in a different place or a kennel and kind of start that training over. She should be the one that feeds the dog. She should be the one that, goes through the door first and then the dog. She just has to retrain that dog that she's higher on the food chain.
Those are all great ideas, of course. And the husband, boy, does he have life nailed now. He doesn't have to feed the dog. He doesn't have to let the dog out. He doesn't have to praise the dog.
Sorry, doctor's orders.
Yep, all in a way to even things out in the relationship.
Yeah.
Hauling your wood, Jesus said they've got a pit bull that has anal discharge all day long.
Oh.
They go through baby wipes like crazy. Could it be the diet?
Well, it depends. Is it anal sacs that are leaking, like the anal gland material, or is it stool? If it's the anal gland material, I'd have those expressed, and if it continues to happen, you can get those surgically removed if it's a chronic problem. But if it's soft stool, yeah, it sounds like the dog could have some underlying GI issues. Might need to consider different food or meds.
Maybe get some diapers.
Or a diaper.
Oh.
Hey, you guys, a dog in a diaper eating a carrot.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
That's knocking it out of the park right there.
They do sell them, dog diapers, and they have like a hole for their tail.
We've had to buy them.
Yeah.
For 2 dogs now, and they didn't really work that well.
They're hard.
Yeah.
They're hard to stay on.
Yeah, they fall off a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Lumps, Dr. Andrea, lumps. Biggest wrestling fan, Jesus, has a boxer lab mix. Bump on her left side. I only feel it when she's on her back, showing me her belly. It's near the leg. She's had lumps before, 2 of which were cancerous. So this is the first lump that this individual has seen since the cancerous lumps were removed. What are the chances?
Get it checked out.
Yeah.
My guess is it's with it being a boxer, it could be a mast cell tumor. Dogs that have one skin cancer called mast cell typically develop others. I would get that checked out for sure.
Don't some dogs just develop fat lumps?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of cute.
Yeah.
My dachshund had fat lumps on them. It was great.
They're a little scary, though, when you first find them.
Well, of course, yeah. Any kind of when you find one on yourself too, that can be a little scary.
Yeah.
Hey, what the hell is that?
Iowa CNC Jesus has a yellow lab. When she drinks water too fast, she pukes, but says it's clear but slimy as hell and hard to clean up. Is it too cold to water, or what can I do to get her to stop puking up her water? We have to give her very little at a time so she doesn't drink too fast and throw up.
Yeah, she's just drinking it too fast. It's kind of that whole scarf and barf, term.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they love doing that. What's wrong with them?
Yeah, I know. So I would do smaller, more frequent amounts, or they have like those bowls and things, or even like a water that only gives a certain amount of water at a time.
I have one of those bowls. They sell them at Sam's Club.
They work well.
Yeah,
are you talking about those strategic bowls where the dog has to work for it?
So those are like the food bowls. So it's like a maze kind of that you put the food in. But these are, it's kind of like a plate sits on top of their water.
Oh, yeah.
So it only allows like a tiny little bit in.
Yep.
Scarf and barf, man.
Yeah.
One of my buddies has that problem with Planter's cheese balls.
I get it.
I feel bad for the roof of his mouth.
Well, they're against him because they always come in a tub that's the size of your...
Seriously.
They're so good.
Yeah, they're huge.
So good.
I told you the story before about me and my old pal Ricky up at BIR at the campground, and we had one of those 55-gallon drums of cheese balls between the two of us. We're sitting around the campfire in lawn chairs with the drum of cheese balls between us, and we're just fisting it, completely unconscious, for hours and hours. And finally, Ricky gets up, and he kicks it across the campground, and he says, "Get these friggin' things away from me."
It's hard to stop.
We were like zombies.
I get it. Yep.
You eat until you're way over full.
Oh, so good.
Why does my cat take his toys and soak them in his water dish before he plays with them?
Oh, that's fun.
Is he drowning
That's a
them?
new one. I haven't heard that before. But yeah, it could be a way that honestly, it's like a predatory thing. It's doing something.
Oh, so it's trying to kill
Slow
it?
it down.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Whoa.
Kill it before I grill it, kind of a thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Your cat's so cool.
That's a cool cat right there.
That's funny.
Hey, nice toy. I dig this. Hang on a sec. Let me drown this sumbitch first, and then...
Half-assed morning show.
Promo.
On 93X.
Dr. Andrea Johnston is here, our favorite veterinarian. Taking questions from our listening audience. We got time for a few more. Just a few. You still got to go perform your real job.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We don't want to be wearing you out. Allergy problems for a dog. That's the question that I have in my filthy little hands right here. What do you recommend for instant allergy relief for an allergic reaction my dog got from a bug bite?
Oh, yeah, we see a lot of those. And they come in with their face super swollen. It's kind of cute.
Yeah, that sounds cute.
Usually Benadryl. I would start with Benadryl orally, and that dose is usually 1 milligram per pound. So if you have a 50-pound dog, 50 milligrams of Benadryl.
Okay.
With that being said, a lot of times you have to bring the dog in for an injection of Benadryl and a steroid injection.
Okay. Yeah, they get the bite on the face and they get all puffy.
Yeah, knock on wood, I've never seen a dog go into like full anaphylaxis where they have like respiratory issues, but mainly it's the face.
Okay.
Yeah, swelling.
These people have 2 new kitties. They've been with them for about 8 weeks. They're about 5 months old. They say they basically have to follow them around with a mop and a box of Kleenex because all they do is blow snot all over the place. They act healthy. They're eating and drinking just fine, but they're constantly sneezing and wheezing, and their breath smells. What can we do to stop the snot fest?
Yeah, so my guess is those kittens came from some type of rescue or cattery where they have been in contact with upper respiratory viruses. That is in their system forever, unfortunately, and it will come out when they are young because they're immunocompromised, when they're old because they're immunocompromised, or even when they're stressed. Sometimes you have to start them on antibiotics if they get a secondary bacterial infection, but that's kind of that's going to be in them, kind of like herpes virus. Actually, it is herpes virus.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not alone.
We've been there.
A lot of that going around.
It's actually herpes and chlamydia and calicivirus, but different than what people get.
Okay.
There's cat chlamydia?
Yeah.
Cute. Can dogs get it?
No.
Oh.
No.
I mean, it's not the same strain. I'm sure they could, but it's not the same strain that cats get.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Dog and cat chlamydia. What about a dog pushing around the dog food bowl with her nose Likes to rearrange the food but doesn't eat any of it. Well, that's a concern right there, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, I would, one, make sure that the food bag isn't old or has been contaminated. Sometimes this time of year, you'll find little rodents in there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Or if it's stale. The other thing is I check the dog's mouth, make sure there's no oral pain. Maybe it's hungry, but it hurts to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it illegal to window tint my dog? What is this?
Combining a couple segments there.
They're joking around there.
Nail Gun Jesus has a question about canine, is it brucellosis?
Wow, yeah.
You did good there, Josh.
Yeah.
Our dog had it. We did a 6-month antibiotic regimen. He seems fine, but how pervasive is this disease? Can she be cured? Is it deadly?
Well, the biggest issue with brucellosis is breeding. So my biggest concern would be if he's going to breed that dog. I wouldn't, but because they have to test for brucella when breeding dogs. It's an organism that can cause fetal issues as well as it's contagious. So I would usually treatment does the trick, but I would not breed that dog. Yeah.
What about a dog who's scared of everything? Now, this is a text from a listener who says, I have a German Shepherd Lab mix, scared of everything, even if I'm doing work at the house and he sees my tape measure, he runs and hides.
Oh.
What can I do to help him?
You got to desensitize them. So make those experiences positive. Take out the tape measure and give them a treat. You know, it's a lot of patience and compliance on the owner's behalf.
It's going to take a while.
A long time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't resolve 100%, unfortunately.
Some pets are just, kind of built like that, wired like that.
Especially German Shepherd. They're pretty skittish like that.
Our new dog was at first.
Yeah.
It took him just a little bit to get used to it.
Yeah, some dogs will adapt easily.
Sounds like a little bit of fun. You just take your car keys out your pocket and the dog goes running for the next room or something like that.
Yeah, one of my dogs is like that to the most random things. It makes no sense. He'll my fiance will grab something stupid, I don't know, a pen or a water bottle, and all of a sudden my dog Bruin's like, nope. I don't like that. I'm running away.
What the hell is that?
It makes no sense.
I can't identify that.
Yeah.
Plastic bags are terrifying to my dog.
Yeah, there's little things. Something happened to them that triggered that.
With a plastic bag. That's worrisome.
Right.
I'm being corrected here. This texter says that cat chlamydia, it's actually pronounced Clawmydia. Is that right?
Hilarious.
Clawmydia?
Dad joke.
Friggin' bastards. Another behavioral type of question for Dr. Andrea. How difficult would it be to, how does it say here, train a 4-year-old dog to use a litter box after it's been going outside for poo-poo and pee-pee for the entirety of its life?
I don't think that's going to be very successful. Yeah.
It's a have-a-poo, if that
Havanese
means anything to you.
Poodle. You could try. I just think that's going to create a lot of confusion for that pet. Yeah. I don't necessarily recommend indoor potty training unless the dog is super, super tiny. But
that's what we do.
Yeah. But the ones that have already been outside, I wouldn't mess with that.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had this question. This person wants to know, can they dye their dog's hair?
Yeah, I actually have a client that does that with her white poodle, and it's awesome because PETA doesn't like it, right? Because they feel that we're, messing with the dog.
Infringing on the dog's rights.
I have a client that actually makes it look like candy corn on Halloween.
Oh, no.
Yellow and orange. Awesome. It's washout dye. She gets a groom like that. There's some groomers that do it.
Yeah, they make pet safe stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures that are pretty funny.
Yeah. My kids polish my dog's nails.
Cute.
Kind of the same thing.
I personally, I've got no problem with people who dye their dog's hair unless it's just loading up for a big Packer game or something. You know what I mean? Don't bother your dog with that stuff.
IT miracle worker Jesus, speaking of funny pictures, sent a picture of, I'll show you this in a second, Dr. Andrea. He says, how do I get my girl dog to stop doing this to my boy dog? And it's a clear humping incident.
Wow.
Take a look at that.
Wow. That's the female on the male?
That's what
wow.
Yeah.
She said, I'm the boss.
That tells you right there that it's not hormonal and it's all just dominant behavior. It's nothing to do with hormones. It's
girl dog
she's
humping
like
a boy
half
dog.
the size of the boy dog.
Yeah, she's just trying to take over the alpha role.
That's such a cute picture.
It
Oh
is
my
kinda
gosh.
cute.
She's got a little bow on, too.
Yeah,
Makes it better.
I want them to make a calendar of this.
I'm sure there is.
So how does he get it to stop? What does he do?
I would not promote it. I try and separate them and redirect them, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But some of that you can't avoid because they're just trying to figure out the hierarchy between the two of them.
One more before we go, Dr. Andrea, and I think I'm settling an argument here between a couple of my coworkers. Is it okay to pet your dog while it sleeps? This is what it says here. For Dr. Andrea, stop petting your dogs while they sleep. They hate it. Is this an argument between Ashley and Dana or something?
No, it's an article.
No, it's an article.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
and I
sorry.
was mad that Dana had sent that to me.
You were mad that he sent it to you? Why were you mad?
Because, no, they love it. Especially my dog Widow that sleeps in the bed with me. She loves when I pet her when she sleeps.
Okay.
Sometimes she'll pick her little head up and look at me like, oh, thanks, Mom.
Okay, are you sure that's what she's thinking? Anyway, Dr. Andrea,
think so.
have you ever heard this
I think it's
conversation?
kind of like people, If you don't want to be cuddling in bed versus those that want to be touched, right?
Yeah, right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So some dogs love to be pet, and some dogs are like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I have heard not to wake them up when they're dreaming.
Oh,
Is
it's my
there any
favorite
truth
thing in the
to-
whole world.
Is there any
wonder
truth
what
to
they're-
that? Because sometimes I think like, oh, what if they're having a nightmare?
I love it. But when I had
Never heard that before.
my dachshund would have horrible dreams where he's like, running and whimpering, and I would wake him up and be like, ah, just to see how he would, and he would go,
do that.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. And he would
Sure,
look at me
he
like,
did too.
oh God, what is? I don't know. He lived forever. I didn't hurt him. We had a good time. Oh my God, are you okay? And he'd think, I don't know. Is this
Poor
real or am I still?
It's kind of fun.
Oh God. All right, we got to get going. But thank you very much, Dr.
Thank
Andrea.
you.
Always a good time.
Yes,
Have
it's
fun.
highlight of our week, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Best of luck to Covered Metal Jesus on his way to get some medical results. Hope that turns out well. Pure Irish Jesus texts a shout out to his dad, Eric, who broke his hip and he's going to need some surgery. Happy 10th birthday to Addie, a.k.a. Princess Jellybean Sheezus from Mom, beer and pizza Sheezus. And get your text hand ready. The Luther Bloomington Kia text line right now, if you text the word HURT, H-U-R-T, and many of us have been hurt. Text HURT to 651-989-9393 for a chance to win tickets to the 9 Inch Nails Peel It Back tour just announced yesterday. This happened Sunday, August 17th at the X. Tickets go on sale to regular plebes Wednesday at high noon, but you can win them now before you can even buy
Who
them.
are you calling a plebe?
People who don't listen to 93X.
You're always calling me a plebe.
You're not a plebe.
I thought you were going after me.
I've never said that once. 93x.com as the rest of the concert and ticket information. Thank you for another fun morning. Have a nice little Thursday and hope you can join us again tomorrow.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor. Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.